Morning.
Good morning.
How's the cruise ship?
I know. There's no light. There's no light in this room. There's no light. I'm trying to figure out how I can bring a light on this side.
That's fine.
It's hysterical.
99% of us listen to it on radio.
Oh, I know. Howdy, howdy.
No.
Not for long.
They called pass interference on a ball in that Cleveland game. That ball was 5 yards out of the end zone.
Oh, my God. I was watching. Horrendous.
The spot in the Steelers game, horrendous.
I didn't even like the ejection in the Broncos-Packers game. It's a player with reputation, but he led with his head and shoulder to the other guy's shoulder. The force of the blow hit the shoulder, went through it, and grazed his head. Okay, 15 yards is one thing. To eject the guy, I thought was outrageous. No, he drilled him. I think it was a reputation ejection. It's all right. The guy who backed him up sealed the game with the interception, but I didn't like either interference call against Colts. I didn't even like the first one. The cornerback got outside positioning. Okay, there's a difference between putting your hands on someone when they make contact with you to not fall down and holding him up. I didn't think he held him up at all. And then the pass interference when the ball was hopelessly thrown out of the end zone. I'll tell you what, those two plays in the Tampa Bay Atlanta game, though, near the goal line, those were tough calls. Like,
yes.
Whether or not, brutally hard.
I think they got it right.
I think they got them both right. God, Atlanta should have won that game so easily.
Yeah, they should have.
And then the Bucs had a chance to steal it late, 1st and goal at the 8. You got no running game. They How the hell did the Buffalo Bills lose to the Patriots? Unbelievable.
I didn't bet on him last time. I told you I liked Penn State, but I didn't trust him. It wasn't one of my picks.
Listen, we're all that Tennessee-Alabama game took a lot of starch out of all of us. Golly. Be getting 9.5, up 13 at the half, not cover. Come on. Going for it on 4th and 1.5 yards with the lead in your own zone. What are you doing? Punt the ball.
15 seconds.
Then you still got it covered and you give up a scoop and a score mid-4th quarter. Come on. Ugh.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. I come at you from rainy Minneapolis, the site of Monday Night Football. Mark is in the cozy confines of Southwest Florida. We hope you had a great weekend as we ask the question, how How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So glad to be with you on this Monday. Good morning. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well, David. It was a really fun sports weekend, unless you were gambling, in which case it wasn't as fun. But some great games as always. The league delivers on Sunday. Saturday was excellent. And the baseball playoffs, we're going to get a game 7 tonight.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And we at least have had a few baseball games with drama since we last did a show. So that's always good. Drama and a game 7. But let's start with the football. And, where is it that you want to go? Saturdays, Sundays, last night, yesterday afternoon. You pick and choose because there is so much meat on so many wings. Very rarely do you get this in which you order wings and there are 1 or 2 extras. I'm like, wait, I thought we got 10 wings. Are there 12 in here?
When wings were like 30 cents a pound, David, you might get a 30. You might order 10 and get 12 in there. But
right.
Now that wings cost as much of a filet mignon in some places, you
Right.
don't get the benefit of the doubt.
No, you get 8 wings now with your order. Right. Mm-hmm. It's like, what happened? Yeah, we only have 8 in an order now. Oh, okay. Well, sure, $18 is fine. That'll be good. Sure. A little ranch on the side would be nice. Thank you.
And we'll charge you for that as well.
Whatever you got to do, whatever you have to do. But is it as simple as when the Dolphins don't play a good team, they're terrific, and when they play a good team, well, they're not as good as them? Although
It's starting to look that way.
Although one of the good teams they played just lost to the Patriots yesterday. So I don't know what to think about that good team either. But obviously the Dolphins are 5-2. And when they went to Buffalo, when they went to Philly, they looked outclassed. And they got outclassed. When they play everybody else, they look really good. Really good.
Would like to have seen it, but I don't know how often we're going to see a healthy football team anywhere in the league. But Miami with banged up line, with X out on the back end, obviously with no Ramsey. Philadelphia did what they wanted last night, largely.
Yeah, when you saw the injury report and the inactive list 90 minutes before kickoff, you thought to yourself, And I thought the Dolphins had a good shot tonight. But looking at this doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
None. I literally almost went to X and said, can I change my pick?
Like,
Because
how in the world?
Losing X, I thought was a big deal last night.
I agree.
I really thought that when I found that out 90 minutes before, I went, well, damn, that does not bode well for the Miami Dolphins.
So there were a few games over the weekend, and I hate to go there this early, but it's tough not to. So, I was at a college football game on Saturday in which the penalties were 10-1, which is amazing because the team who committed the 1 penalty has already had 2 games this year in which they've committed 12 or more. In fact, I did a game just 2 weeks earlier in which they committed 14 penalties. All right. But the 10 penalties in the Tennessee-Alabama game were 10-1, which I thought would be the biggest disparity of the weekend until the Philadelphia Eagles-Miami Dolphins game last night. Wasn't the penalties 10-0?
Yes. It was a shutout.
Man.
Tough to do.
And then was Penn State ever going to score a meaningful touchdown against Ohio State? Probably not. But I'll tell you what, the officials in the second quarter made sure that they were going to play that game from behind. I mean, there was a lot of talk about the officiating this weekend. I mean, they certainly determined the outcome of the Colts-Browns game. There's just no doubt about that.
When you call pass interference and the ball nearly sails into the crowd, that's one that usually gets picked up.
It seems to be an uncatchable ball.
I mean, it was 7 yards deep of the back line in the end zone. I don't know how you can call. You want to call defensive holding and mince it that way, at least you're giving me a call that I can say, okay, you can call that. But to call pass interference when the ball is literally 6-7 yards beyond the end line, that's not a catchable ball. Not for anybody that's not a cheerleader.
So a lot of talk of the officiating this weekend on both Saturdays and Sundays. There's no doubt about it. And in the one case that we just mentioned, it was the home team that was victimized. I think it was the officials taking it out on their uniforms. I hated the Colts uniforms. Hated them.
Hated the helmets.
Oof.
I didn't mind the uniforms. With the white helmet, that wouldn't have been a bad uniform. Didn't like the black helmet.
Oof. Ugly. But Tampa Bay, listen, Atlanta really outplayed them. I mean, thoroughly outplayed them. They should have won that game by 17. But with that being said, the Bucks are down 3 with 2 minutes to go, and they got first and goal at the 8. I mean, you got a chance to steal this sucker and totally change probably the course of the NFC South this year. And the Bucks couldn't do it. Couldn't pull it off. And their limitations on offense are now very apparent. There is no running game. There apparently will be no running game. It is Baker, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin. That's all they got. That is all they have. And Baker's okay. He ain't great.
And I don't think it's a matter of going to get a running back for the Bucks, David, because it's not. Rachaad White did fine catching the ball out of the backfield. There wasn't a hole for him. And yeah, maybe new blood in there would be a difference, but they can't create a hole.
I mean, would they have 73 yards rushing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not for a team and a coach that wants to play a certain style of ball. They're not good enough to play that way. They're going to have to throw to run to have a chance. People in the Twitch chat room wondering, go get a running back, trade for Derrick Henry. I'm with Mark. I don't see the holes. I just don't see it. And plus, my feeling about the Bucs. When they lose Thursday to Buffalo and fall to 3-4, I'm starting the fire sale. I mean, come on. This team is so far away. I mean, you saw the Eagles last night. I mean, come on now. You're going to see the Niners tonight. I mean, do you really think this team with the core that they have is going to get to that point? No. Mike Evans will be well past his prime. Levante David's at the end as it is. Very good player, but, I mean, he's at the end. You're going to pay $22 million a year for Devin White. Is Chris Godwin a 1? I don't know. He's a terrific 2. Might be a 1A, but we got time for that. Deadline's a week tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll make sure that they lose to Buffalo before we start trading off the team because the way Buffalo played, that's no guarantee for anyone next Sunday.
No, it is not. In fact, you could argue one of the big winners of the weekend was the Miami Dolphins, and they lost. Tell you what, the Jets had a good weekend. My goodness. Man, they didn't play.
Never as a bye looks so good for a team.
Right. So it is funny. There are 2 6-1 teams. They're the teams that played in the Super Bowl last year. There's a third team that has a chance to join them tonight. They're the team that lost in the conference championship game to one of those 2 6-1 teams. Boy, a lot's changed in the NFL in about 10 months, hasn't it?
And the tush push is still unstoppable. You may hate it.
At least in Philadelphia it is.
Well, yes. 4 for 4 last night, a touchdown and 3 conversions. And eating up clock in the fourth quarter to secure a victory.
Yep.
They are going to be they're a tough out just on that alone. You give that team a lead late, their 4-minute drill is better than your 4-minute drill because they have a play. It's third and it's really 1st and 9.
I could argue
3 downs to get 9 yards. If they get 9 yards, they're going to get a first down.
I could argue do they just have to get to 3rd and 2 if they wanted to? Couldn't they line up twice at 3rd and 2 and just run it twice?
Yes. If they need to run it twice, because it's not like they just get a yard when they run it.
No.
It's not like they're bringing the chains out and saying, "Oh, we better measure this one's close." I mean, they're just obliterating the defense when they run that play.
And I don't know if anybody heard, but Taylor Swift showed up at a Chiefs game yesterday. Did anybody see that? Anybody hear about that? Did she make it onto television at all? Wasn't that a CBS game? They hadn't had her yet, see? So they're like, this is our chance. She was on almost, I think she was on more than Justin Herbert was. Okay, which, quite frankly, she played a better game than Herbert did yesterday. Hello! Man, oh man. Tell you, could take him out of the list of elite quarterbacks. Anybody watching him play this year? Please. A break.
Yeah, the Chiefs did what they wanted. That Chiefs defense is worth. I mean, as we go on, if they can continue to that type of defense, man. I mean, we already knew that they were a tough out, but now defensively, they're every bit as good as they are offensively.
Shut out the Chargers in the second half. I mean, whew. Mahomes just completed another pass. Threw for another score while we were talking. So for as much as things change, Ohio State won the Big Ten game. The Eagles and the Chiefs won the big NFL games. The Ravens said to an NFC team, please, seriously? You thought you were going to win? Man. We love playing you in the NFC. You guys are funny.
Cute, almost.
Yeah. It's that AFC North that gives us problems. I don't know what you guys think you're bringing to the dance.
But we just tap you on the head and move on.
Yeah, please. Mark Jackson's like, come to think of it, I should have signed with an NFC team. Man, this is easy over here.
Miller and Moulton, we got a great show lined up for you today. Gary Danielson will join us, Chris Landry to get inside the film, and Angelique Chengelis to talk about what's going on in Ann Arbor. All upcoming right here on Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, when Lamar plays like that, you think, who the hell's going to beat these guys?
David, do you have any wires that are kind of touching near the computer? There's a little static today, and I don't know where it's coming from.
Okay.
It's gone now. Thank you. So we had a 2-3 and 2 1-4s this week. Do I see that right?
Yeah. Yep. You sure do. Ambient, I've been here 18 hours. I went from the airport to the hotel. But yeah, I love it. Minneapolis is a neat city. There's a lot going on here. And you could live here. There's like 5 Fortune 500 companies. I mean, Minneapolis is a major U.S. city. I would have been fine living here. I mean, it's 49 degrees and drizzling right now, but high today is 63, but which is balmy. Hey, Adam, at least they won. Exactly. Kemi, exactly. And unfortunately, it's him and 2 wide receivers. That's all I got. I know, Go Raiders. We're walking to the game from the hotel. When I say we, I mean the support crew, not Joe and Troy.
No, they'll get helicoptered.
It'll just be driven. Kansas City might be a helicopter. That's about a half-hour drive.
$10.
Well, KW, there's no doubt they had to change Vegas with the F1.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
At 21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I'm in drizzly 49-degree Minneapolis. It's actually going to be nice today, sunny and 63, which this time of year, pretty darn good. Niners and Vikings, Monday Night Football. That's why I'm here. Mark's like, hell with that. I'm going to stay in the 239 if it's okay with you.
I love your travel schedule right up until about now. Now you can run into elements. Now weather starts becoming a factor.
I will say this was a glorious fall foliage travel weekend, though. Flew to Atlanta, took the drive to Tuscaloosa on Saturday morning. Oh, it was nice. It was nice. Leaves are turning. It was pretty. I have to admit it was warmer. It was more of it wasn't a fall day. I mean, it was supposed to be a fall day, low 70s. I think it got up to 80 at kickoff. It was like, hey, come on, a little warm for the leaves to be this color now. Come on, knock it down a little bit. And flying into Minneapolis, Mark, oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And it was sunny when we were flying in, too, yesterday. So, oh, no, it's a beautiful fall foliage weekend. After about the cocktail party on Saturday, it's over, though. I mean, this lasted like 10 days. The leaves hadn't turned in Knoxville yet. I was driving around going, where are the colors? And then by the time we're done with the cocktail party, I'll head to Detroit next week, and it'll be like, oh, great. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, winter's around the corner.
Speaking of Detroit, Lamar Jackson just threw for another first down.
See, it was the showdown with the Bucs that took it all out of them. That was the biggie.
Well, I think you could say the same thing about Detroit that you said about the Dolphins. And I know they beat a wounded Kansas City team week 1. I don't know if we know anything about them. I don't know if we know anything about. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns still in the NFL. What you said last segment, we know Philadelphia is a good football team. We know Kansas City is a good football team. We know the Eagles are a good football team. What else do we know about that league?
Well, I think the Niners. Like you said, Philadelia and the Eagles.
I'm sorry, the Niners. Yeah, right. I meant the Niners. My
well,
mistake.
We got 3. Well, I will say this, though. I think Baltimore's a good team that has just thrown away a couple games. I mean, honestly, they lost. They had 9 guys, 9 regulars on the injured list when they played a Colts team, and they lost in overtime. And then they just threw away that game against the Steelers. Dominated it for 3 quarters. I mean, it's one of the most gruesome losses of the year, how Baltimore threw that game away. I mean, they are very close to unbeaten.
And what really impressed me about Baltimore yesterday was the time Lamar had. Detroit's got a decent pass rush. And Lamar had, I mean, you're going to see the one highlight over and over where he had 9.5 seconds. But Lamar had all those first 3 drives. Lamar had as much time as he needed to throw every pass. And then they run a couple of those nice bootleg plays where he's sneaking out to Beckham on one, to a running back on another, to a fullback on another. I mean, Moncton's they showed what they can do offensively yesterday, and it was very impressive. And a lot of it, to me, David, was because of how well the offensive line played. They gave him an eternity to block, eternity back there to throw the ball and go through his progressions and find the receivers.
If they could just get to the Super Bowl, because what is Lamar now? 15-1 against
15-1
against the NFC. Pat Kerwin's been on this stat for a long time. He has brought it up for 3 years on this show, in which he's like, the AFC gets to see him, especially in the North. They can practice against him. They understand the NFC team can't replicate it. And when they get it in person, they're like, oh, boy. But he beat him throwing the ball yesterday.
Right. I mean, he didn't do it running. This was a different style of Lamar Jackson. This is what Moncton wants in this offense, is for him to escape to run every once in a while. But, I'll go back to the play where he stood in the damn pocket for 10 seconds. That's not what Lamar would have done last year. Never, David. Well, never.
This is the Todd Monken effect. And there have been times in the first 6+ weeks of the season where it just wasn't clicking. It wasn't working. But this is why John Harbaugh made the move, got rid of Greg Knapp as offense coordinator. Had a lot of success with Knapp. Knapp was the one that took Lamar and said, I'll build an offense around his skill set. We'll win a lot of games. And they did. Hell, he won an MVP. They were the 1 seed one year. It's not like Greg Knapp can't do his job. But Greg Knapp's offense is more San Francisco 49ers-esque in terms of blocking schemes and power running. And instead of doing it with the running back, they did it with the quarterback. John Harbaugh said, I think we've taken this about as far as we can go. Need to incorporate some wide receivers into this offense. And Lamar wants to throw the ball, and I think we're ready. And Todd Monken's like, well, hell, I did it with Stetson Bennett. I think I can do it with Lamar Jackson. Okay, sure. And yesterday, for the first time, I mean, let's be sure. Clearly, Detroit showed up a step slow. There's no doubt. For whatever reason, they didn't show up. They didn't have it. Oh wow, we're under a quarter of a tank. I mean, that's what all you realized early on with the Lions. Like, oh damn, tank's not full. I thought you were going to get gas last night. I mean, yeah, but that Baltimore team, that's one in which you're like, oh snap. Now that's a team that could challenge the Chiefs. Oh, that team could challenge anybody. So that'll be interesting to pay attention to, right there.
If they can get out of their own way in their own division, David. I mean, just to finish on the Ravens quickly, because they have an AFC North problem.
Yep, they sure do. They sure do. So we'll see if they can get out of their own division. If so, look out. I'm not discouraged if I'm a Dolphin fan today. I'm not. Should I be? With all the people I didn't show up to the gunfight with? Okay, should I be?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. But with what's coming back, particularly defensively, with no X, no Ramsey, I think that's a big deal in that game.
You know, the one part that I took out of the game is, we didn't know if they'd be able to run the ball against the Eagles front. And sure enough, they didn't. I will say they weren't patient at it either. But in part, I think it's because they knew, I don't know how many possessions we're going to get. I don't know how many times we're going to get this offense off the field. Mark, you know how many times the Dolphins had the ball yesterday? A normal NFL game, a team gets 11 or 12 possessions. Dolphins had 8. They had the ball 8 times yesterday. That's it. That's an Army-Navy game. Fittingly enough, it's usually played in Philadelphia. And I think Mike McDaniel sensed that early. He's like, hey, I don't know how many times I'm going to have the ball.
And do we take 8 to 7 if we're going to try to be patient with the running game, if you know what I mean?
And I need some points today, so I may have to chuck it. And so Mike McDaniel said afterwards, he said, you know what, this is what a team like us, we have to experience. We haven't been in these fights, and we haven't been in these fights on the road. Okay. We are now experiencing what this is all about. We need to be in more games like this, and we will be. Huh? Okay. Did the Lions and Dolphins, and by the way, who are the 2 quarterbacks who are being talked up right now as leaders in the clubhouse heading into yesterday for MVP in both leagues? Might very well have been Tua and Goff. And did their teams just get a wake-up call last night? Like, listen, you're good. You got potential. You ain't there yet. Go back to work.
And both teams will go back today with a lot to work on. And in the Dolphins' case, how much of it was just a depleted lineup that when everybody's healthy and gets healthy will affect that. Miller and Moulton, the starting 5 is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Okay. Paul, this is my theory about the Bills yesterday, and I could be wrong. That was Bill Belichick's defensively going up against, let's see, who's that Bills offensive coordinator? Ken Dorsey. Right. And so that's why I think. Now, I will say, I think the Bills found something in the fourth quarter. They need to go 2-minute K-gun, Josh in the shotgun. Seriously, they need to go shotgun, up-tempo, 2-minute offense. That's their best offense. And they don't have to play it at the breakneck pace, but they just have to shotgun, K-gun, if you just, and do it. Our buddy McBain is losing his mind over the Bills. You should see the texts I get. At a Bills bar, okay, just he told me at the end of what they were 13-3, they were losing at the half, something like that. He said, I just booed them off the field. I said, so let me picture this. You were standing at the bar booing? He said, yes. I go, please tell me you were at a Bills bar. He goes, of course I was at a Bills bar. I said, so did others join in? Oh, yeah. Whole place. We booed them off the field. Okay, good.
Tampa doesn't have any salary cap room. And Derrick Henry doesn't. What does that do? Get him beat in the first round of the playoffs? I mean, seriously, Adam.
So they trade for Henry, and they win the South?
And lose to Dallas.
Or Seattle in the 4 or 5 game. And then how do they look for next year? When Mike Evans and Devin White are free agents. And you can only tag one of them. Yeah, I think he's got something left, but I don't think he's got 2019 Derrick Henry in him. And remember, he won the Heisman in 2015. This is his 8th year in the league. Guys, Jordan Love's not that good. But also, they are the youngest team in the league. They're not going to be good this year. They built the roster to not be good this year. They're taking the Aaron Rodgers cap hit this year. They're very young, very cheap, very affordable. Love's on a 2-year affordable contract. They're hoping to use this whole year to build and have a good 2024. And then have a young, affordable team. They will have moved on from Aaron Jones and Bakhtiari, and they should have a lot of cap room.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Gary Danielson to join us at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You know, I was working on the starting five last night. I'm like, damn, a lot happened over the weekend. Huh. Seemed like it was a busier weekend than most, even though supposedly all the same stuff goes on every weekend. I don't know. It just seemed meatier this weekend. You know what I mean?
I can see what you're getting at there.
Maybe the games are just starting to mean a little more.
It could be it.
Oh,
Implications here are rather high each week, or so it seems.
gotcha. So with that in mind, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
So before you get started, I just want to explain that pause, because we do this at the same time every day. And even today, unlike sometimes you're quick. Sometimes we come out of break, Felipe's just getting everything set, and you're like, time now for the starting five, and he's got to reach. And, you know, it's like you came at him quickly. You're running the hurry up. Today, we had a conversation about the starting five.
right.
He knew it was coming. And then when you said time for the starting five, there was this panic over there as he hits the button.
Listen, he is mentally.
He's
We
so
gotta-
checked out.
Yeah, this is Felipe's last week, okay? And Felipe was a great guy, okay? He gave us like 5-6 weeks notice, okay? He just said, listen, I got things going on. I'm going to need to move on, but I'll stay till you find somebody. Now and considering the Wells Fargo bank that we just put in his bank account every 2 weeks, I mean, he's really been good to us, but he worked yesterday, quick turnaround.
It's late night.
It's
The
his
Dolphins
final
lost.
week. The Dolphins lost. I mean, Mark, listen, we're just
There's
happy.
short timers, and then there's short timers, is what you're
Right.
saying.
I
And
mean,
he deserves to be one this week.
we're just happy there's not a button in there that could send nukes in the air, because he might just press it incorrectly this week. I mean, anything could happen this week. We got to be ready to go.
It's like my mind is being narrated over the radio by Miller and Moulton.
Oh, wow. We're very sorry about that. A couple weeks, you'll get it out of your system. You'll be good. Eagles took care of the Dolphins last night, 31-17. It was tied at 17, mid to late third quarter. By the way, could we just pause for a second? What the hell is Mike McDaniel doing? 4th and 3 from the 21, down 17-10 mid-third quarter. Kick the flippin' field goal. Honestly, did these coaches all go to the same seminar and get brainwashed? What the hell has happened? Sometimes you got to settle for 3. Sometimes you got to punt the ball. Most times you kick the damn extra point. What is going on? When did settling for less than the ideal? No, I'm only want the touchdown. I only want the 2. No. We're never punting. What the hell? This ain't some high school in Kansas, okay? These games matter. All right. Back to the Eagles and the Dolphins. Jerome Baker, pick 6. We're tied. And Hurts, hey, give it up to him. He's hurt. Pardon the pun. And he may play the rest of the year hurt. I mean, nobody's saying exactly what it is, but this doesn't seem like it's a day-to-day thing. It seems like he's playing through injury and don't know when it will heal. Dolphins were held to just 244 total yards. And, Mark, what was the key stat that Pat Kerwin came up with leading into this game?
How many times is Tua going to get sacked?
And what did he say the magic number was?
What, 3 or 4? Yeah, they got to put him down 4 times.
How many times was Tua sacked yesterday? 4.
4 times.
The 2 games this year that the Dolphins have lost, Tua's been sacked 4 times in each game. 31-17 Eagles. They're 6-1. Miami's 5-2. Tampa Bay, big opportunity to take control of the NFC South yesterday. They got outplayed, quite frankly, and yet still could have won it late. They had 1st and goal at the 8 with 2 minutes to go, down 3, had to settle for a field goal. And then Atlanta, which had over 400 yards of offense, moved the ball well enough so that Young Ho
They fumbled on the 1 twice.
I mean, Atlanta should have won by 17, to be honest with you. And yet Tampa Bay could have stole the game also. But Young Ho Koo with a 51-yarder at the gun, and the Falcons overcome 3 turnovers and beat the Bucs 16-13. Atlanta's in first in the South by a half a game over Tampa. Bucs have to play at Buffalo on Thursday. Speaking of the Bills, man, do they look lousy right now. They bear no resemblance to the team who beat Miami. They were lucky to beat the Giants at home last week, and they lost at New England yesterday, 29-25. After semi-miraculously scoring 2 late fourth-quarter touchdowns to take the lead, they allowed Mac Jones and that vaunted Patriots offense to go right down the field. He hits Gesicki. It's funny, they ran the play on 1st down, all right, and Jones overthrew him. So they came back and ran the same damn play on 2nd down, and he hit him for a touchdown. 12 seconds to go. 29-25. Belichick's 300th career regular season win.
And man, was he excited about it after the game. Don't know if anybody caught the post-game interviews with Bill, but he really came out of his shell about win number 300.
I will say, though, on the field, there was a half smile. Smile.
That's because he beat the Bills.
It could be. Hallis and Shula, the only other 2 to get 300 regular season wins. Andy Reid is trying really hard to become the 4th. It's going to take a few more years. Patriots at Dolphins next week. Dolphins already an 11.5-point favorite. The last time the Patriots were this big an underdog, their first Super Bowl that they won against the Rams. Baltimore beat the Lions 38-6. Both teams are now 5-2. Lamar's 15-1 against the NFC. He passed for 357 and 3 touchdowns, and then he ran one in as well. Lions host the Raiders a week from tonight on Monday Night Football. The Ravens go to Arizona. Wild game in Indianapolis. Kareem Hunt scored on a 4th and goal from the 1 with 15 seconds to go. Browns beat the Colts 39-38. Cleveland would be a playoff team right now at 4-2. Colts fall to 3-4. Deshaun Watson started the game, didn't make it through a quarter, got hurt. They took him out. Colts had 4 turnovers. The Bears beat the Raiders. We made a prediction on Friday's show. You've seen the last of Justin Fields. Not that this kid's the next, Purdy, but that this kid was going to do the basics. And the coaching staff was going to look at one another and go, yeah, we can't get the basics from Fields. We can get the dynamic from Fields, but we can't get the basics. I'd rather have the basics. All right. This Tyson Bagent guy led their offense to 3 touchdown drives. 30-12 Chicago over the Raiders. The Giants beat the Commanders. How? I have no idea. How'd they have 275 yards of offense in the first half? What the heck? Giants sacked Howell 6 times. Tyrod Taylor threw 2 touchdown passes. What the? Giants are awful. Snapped the
This just in, so are the Commanders.
Apparently so. I mean, this team nearly took the Eagles to overtime, lose it. I mean, man, oh man, lose to the bad teams, play the good ones tough. Chiefs do to the Chargers what they normally do, only this time they actually beat them. Usually these games are close. Mahomes, 424 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Herbert, 2 more interceptions. Chargers shut out in the second half. Chiefs are 6-1. Chargers are 2-4. 31-17 KC. Steelers are 4-2.
How? I have no idea.
Because they're the Steelers. And that's really all you have to say. They're the Steelers, okay? They'll figure it out. That's it. Mike Tomlin at halftime says, I know we're not playing well. We'll go in. We'll figure it out. And they come out and they figure it out. And all of a sudden, the Steelers offense in the second half scored 3 times. How? We have no idea how. Okay, but they're the Steelers. This is what we do. We go in, we snack, we come back out. We're the Steelers. 24-17. They're 4-2. The Rams are 3-4.
Do the Rams ever have a home field advantage? Is there a game in which the Rams where they would have a home field advantage? Arizona?
Yes. I will say, Mark, when they hosted the Niners in the NFC Championship game, because it was the NFC Championship game, it was a 50-50 crowd.
Okay. But I mean, if they played the Jags, they might have a home field advantage.
Yeah, they'd have so Arizona and the Jags, probably anybody from the AFC South, I think they'd have a home field advantage. But
maybe
not
the
NFC
South. Maybe the NFC South as well.
Yeah, the 2 South divisions, I think they'd have a home field. Arizona, they have a home field. Against everybody else, no.
They wouldn't have it against the Saints, and they might not have it against the Falcons.
And the Chargers, if they played the Chargers, 10 teams. The 2 Souths, Arizona, and the Chargers. Okay, so the 21 other visiting teams have a home field advantage over the Rams. Seattle doubled up Arizona 20-10. Kenneth Walker, 105 yards rushing. Seahawks are 4-2. Arizona is playing hard, and they're 1-6. Denver beat Green Bay 19-17. Will Lutz, a 52-yard field goal with under 4 minutes to go to win it. Both teams have 2 wins on the year. Niners, 7-point favorites in Minneapolis tonight. Deebo Samuel out. Trent Williams doubtful. McCaffrey looks like a go for the Niners. College football, the top 5 is the same in both polls. Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, and Washington. Oklahoma 6 in both polls also. Florida, Miami just outside the top 25. Air Force is 19th and James Madison 25th in both polls. So there. ALCS, Texas forced a Game 7 with a 9-2 win over Houston. Adolis Garcia is the guy who got plunked in Game 5 and had the brawl, okay? And he hit a slam in the 9th to ice this one. Took his time rounding the bases, too. So Scherzer against Christian Javier tonight in Game 7. Phillies at 5 o'clock try to wrap things up with the D-backs. They send Aaron Nola against Merrill Kelly. 2 games in the NHL. Boston's 5-0. All their good players keep retiring. They keep winning. They beat Anaheim. And your Wings, Mark, have won 5 in a row. And DeBrincat there with a hat trick in a 6-2 win over Calgary. Colin Morikawa won in Japan on the PGA Tour, his first win in 2 years, and he cried afterwards, talking about everything he'd been through in the last 2 years. Minjee Lee in Korea won a playoff against American Allison Lee. Lydia Ko 3rd. American Angel Yin was 4th. NASCAR, they were at Homestead. Christopher Bell, who did not have a good car most of the day, had a good car for the final 25 laps to win it. He's now in the finale. Ross Chastain was involved in a wreck. He finished 31st. Tampa's Eric Almirola with a top 10 finish. He's 9th. Right now, Mark, it would be Bell, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Larson. Boy, there's sex appeal there.
Sell that.
I mean, no Logano, no Harvick, no Kyle Busch, no Truex. Okay. No Elliott. Yeah, no Ross. Yeah, okay. And it's a hell of a Final Four to have to negotiate a new TV deal off of, too. And NBA gets underway tomorrow. Felipe stayed with us just long enough so he could play some NBA highlights for the play of the day.
Next Tuesday, Felipe's NBA season preview.
After he gets a few good nights sleep for the first time in a long time. And that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I'll have less trouble watching those Lakers games.
That's right. That's right. Your lifestyle will now come together perfectly.
Wonder how long it'll take. You're young enough. You should be able to make the switch to staying up late and sleeping in a little longer pretty quickly.
It's harder when you get older.
It is.
I think most things are harder when you get older.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
All
Except
but
for the one most important thing.
Right. All but one. Right. Yep. You could figure that out on your own. You know, we mentioned Miami. The Canes beat Clemson.
Yes, they did.
I mean, it seemed like Mario tried to get in their way, and they beat him with a backup quarterback. Van Dyke didn't play. The talk all week was that he was banged up and he was going to go. Yeah, he was banged up, but he didn't go. They beat Clemson. First home conference win under Cristobal. Got to start somewhere. And Mark, Florida State let Duke think for a minute and a half that they were going to win. They did.
And Florida State acted like Florida State in the fourth quarter.
They said, you know what? This is cute. And you guys have played really well. We'll take it from here. Miller and Moulton. Gary Danielson will take the ball and run with it next. Thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, Lincoln Riley's a punk. Can't root against USC enough until he grows up. All right. His treatment of the media, barring them, the access that he bars them, making no players available after their loss to Utah. I mean, that team's covered like an NFL team in Los Angeles. In fact, that team's covered better than the Rams and the Chargers in Los Angeles. I do have a question. I didn't see the play live. Does anybody have a problem in the Ohio State Penn State game, the scoop and score that was negated, the penalty? Was that a penalty? Because that was another game, by the way, in which it looked like Penn State was playing against 18.
I didn't see it live either because I was at a golf tournament. And what's really weird is I watched the highlights and they didn't show it like on YouTube. They showed the play, but they didn't show it to tell me if there's a penalty.
What do you mean, Paul? I have to share. It's all out there in public. He banned a student reporter from covering the team for 2 weeks because he didn't like something that he wrote. Okay. And the school backed him up on it. And then after the game, okay, he went, sat down, gave us quotes, and then they went to interview the players, and he said, no, the players aren't going to be made available to you. Okay. This is how you want it. And Oklahoma USC is not likely a bowl game this year now because Oklahoma, if they lose, is probably only going to lose to Texas. Although, my God, UCF scared the blank out of them.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, there's no doubt, DC. Sooner fans are loving if Lincoln Riley. I mean, he's laughing all the way to the bank, and you should see his house. It's amazing, but.
All I know is Air Force is 7-0.
And the backup quarterback for Air Force has played at St. John Newman, I believe. And he's now having to play because the starter's hurt. No, DC, I don't think we're going to talk about Floyd and the pig, but I may bring it up because it's the only damn pick I got right this weekend. Sonny, I don't think it was that hard. I think Washington emptied the tank against Oregon and showed up with nothing the next week. Oh, yeah. No. Minnesota, Iowa, under. That's why when I teased it, I didn't go under. Because I specifically said I could see this game being 13-10, 14-10. It was 12-10.
30 seconds.
We have Gary.
Calling him.
Okay. The one less than Alabama, Swamp Buggy. One less than Alabama.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry, Angelique Chengelis, scheduled to join us in the 8 o'clock hour. Gary Danielson is kind enough to join us at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. He of the SEC on CBS. He's got the cocktail party coming up this Saturday. He was in Tuscaloosa for Tennessee and Alabama a couple days ago. Good morning. How are you?
To it, something that I am not allowed to talk about.
I'm sorry. What's that?
I'm not allowed to talk to the Florida-Georgia game. Only the way it's named. I can't talk to it about like if there's anything.
Well, no, you're not calling it that. We're calling it that. So
yeah, anything around it. Anybody can use it. I'm not allowed to.
So we can't call it the apple martini game, the gin and tonic game,
Nope.
Nothing.
No, there's just so many new rules now. Like that.
Got it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll stick to Florida versus Florida v. Georgia.
Right.
As we go
And
forward.
I'm not sure what order either. You might have to defer to Georgia. Yeah, I mean, there's SEC rules too. Whatever fan base is listening, you have to do it a different way too.
Gotcha.
Well, that's
There's a lot
Florida
of
Sports Network. We go Florida v. Georgia around here. We figure that's the safest.
All right.
What'd you learn about Alabama Saturday, Gary?
I think it's a team that really wants to live up to the standards of Alabama football. I really do. I think they went there for a reason. They enjoyed getting back into the national talk about them being a competitor to get into the playoffs. And I think two more things. They really like Jason. They really like Goro. They really like him as a guy, as a brother, the way he is not perfect, the way he stepped up early in the season and accepted the blame when the team wasn't playing well, and how he acted when he got benched or didn't start, against South Florida. And I also think they're enjoying a Coach Saban who realizes that, he can maybe see the horizon, and he enjoys coaching and winning, and he's enjoying these games. I think the whole vibe around the team doesn't feel like there's a lot of pressure on them. It just they're enjoying what's happening in these games. They're a fun team to watch because they are not perfect, that's for sure.
That was a great quote from Nick after the game, in which he said, I really like coaching these guys. They're taking years off my life, but I love being around them.
Yeah, I do feel it. I mean, when you talk to all the players before, it just had a sense of, oh man, we got to win this game, and there's a streak and there's a standard. Where now it's not. It doesn't feel like a burden. It feels like an opportunity for them. And listen, it's hard to find an area that they're great at all in offense. I mean, they're plugging and searching, and I think that it was a good idea to add Milroe into the running attack. I think Tommy Rees, by the way, is an excellent young coordinator who's trying to figure out how he can use these players. When you talk to him, he's amazed at the talent he's coaching. And I want to say to him, yeah, you could have been here a few years ago if you think this is good talent, So I do get a different vibe from the football team. And, whenever, and I've heard you guys talk about this before, and you do a great job of this. If you can rush the passer, you have a great chance to win football games. It just changes the whole dynamic of the game, because the other play caller is trying to avoid 3rd and 6. It just all goes back to, can you put pressure on that quarterback, and it just kind of tips the whole football game. And Alabama can do that. They got 2 edge rushers, and that middle of that defensive line, they've got 5 defensive linemen that can collapse the pocket, all big, strong veteran players.
I'm certainly not trying to put words in your mouth, Gary, but when you were talking about Alabama there and maybe playing a little bit more loose, and how they, a couple of years ago, it was even tougher to live up to the expectations. Isn't Georgia in that same realm now, where they're the team having to live up to expectations? They've got the long winning streak, and they're dealing with pressure that maybe they've not dealt with before.
Yes, I agree with that to an extent. However, there's been so much turnover there of NFL players leaving. I just still get a different feel that they're in the growth phase of a corporation, not a stock that is topped out already. And I still feel like these guys are feeling it's our turn, our opportunity to play, and I still think there's the hunger in Kirby. He coaches with that chip on his shoulder. Every question you ask him is almost like you're picking a fight with him. And as the team takes on that personality, I think Carson Beck is a lot better quarterback than people. Well, there was an anticipation, will Carson Beck be able to take the next step? And really, he has some tools and the way he throws the football that Stetson didn't have, the way he sees the field and throws it. So, and I think some familiarity with, Mike Bobo coming back of, bringing back some of the things the way that Georgia used to run the ball. Listen, they're struggling with injuries. There's no doubt about it. They're a different football team. The two great tight ends from last year, the two different offensive tackles are gone. Then they lose their next best offensive tackle. They've got a lot of good players on the team, and it feels more like opportunity than a wait so far for them. Just guys saying, all right, I came here for a reason. It's my turn. Not the, I don't know. It's a different vibe. Hard to explain, but you could be right. As this streak goes along, the tougher part of their schedule is coming up. So we're going to find out.
Talking with Gary Danielson, SEC on CBS. He's got Georgia, Florida, Georgia, however it is you look at the game this coming Saturday. You had a chance, 3 of your first 4 games this year, to see Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. Now, it's dangerous to see a team very early and then what they're going to look like later on. But you did make the comment to us. You thought Penn State was really good, but you thought that you didn't know if they had the weapons on offense to beat Ohio State and Michigan. Well, it certainly looked as if they were missing a weapon or two needed Saturday.
Right. I think one of the most important positions in college football, ironically, is a mismatch at wide receiver because of the 3-year rule that you have to stay in and play for 3 years. A lot of teams, have that NFL guy that could, in any other sport, already be playing professional football. And obviously, Ohio State has it in Marvin Harrison. And I thought that was the only area that Penn State did not have, was a difference maker at wide receiver. And, this Ohio State football team is built differently. I mean, this is a defense, and, they expected this. Their front, 4 defensive linemen and their inside linebackers, they usually go 5 defensive backs. But the one, actually, I can't remember his name right now. The one defensive back is kind of a hybrid, strong safety, outside linebacker. So they're a unique defense right now. And, they can put pressure on any quarterback. They stop the run well. Their defensive tackle might be their best player, yet their 2, Sawyer and JT, their defensive end, get all the pressure, all the accolades as the 2 difference makers, but they got a defensive tackle that's as good as there is in college football. They're a unique team. And I think the whole thing that started out early about them not being tough is something that Coach Ryan is having a good time, reminding them that the public, or at least part of the public, thinks that this team is soft. And I think he's using it to his advantage.
And I'm sure he reminded them how soft they were in a fun way after that game, because that,
absolutely,
that was just a physical pounding that they gave Penn State on Saturday afternoon.
I do think if you put Marvin Harrison on Penn State, that's a game they could have won.
Do you find that Michigan had the difference makers offensively? When you look ahead, you saw Michigan. Do they have the weapons?
I do. I think they're stacked. I really do. I think, they got a tight end that's an NFL type receiver. They've got a quarterback that's going to be a difference maker, a number 1 draft pick at quarterback, 2 great running backs, is good at offensive line. Wilson there at wide receiver is a really good football player. Yeah, I think this Michigan offense they've got a lot of firepower, and and when you know what the defense is doing with the play call before you snap the ball, that's always an advantage too. Get in.
There were a lot of funny signs Saturday in East Lansing. A lot.
If I could just for a minute say that there is, The rule that I think you guys underestimated a little bit, but if you allow a coach to go on the road and watch a game in person and scout a game, you have a strong ability to steal signals. I know. Listen, as a backup quarterback, I could find signals during the game, and it's easier, by the way, to steal defensive signals than offensive signals. And there's a lot of ways to do it. Usually the defensive coordinator is the last guy putting in the signals right before the snap, and you can figure out who's doing it easy by watching the linebacker, see who he's angled and watching. But also the defensive backs signaling each other give away the calls. After about a quarter, you can figure out the man calls or the zone calls, and that may be enough already. But putting a coach on the road is, in my mind, if that was done, that is on the edge of cheating.
Okay, very quickly because we're pressed for time. So it's not the equivalent of stealing signs in baseball from the dugout, is what you're saying.
All's fair on the sideline. When you do it during the game, that's okay. But when you put somebody on the road, what he does is he talks through the signals, or he uses a phone or a camera, and then he matches them up with the film later, and you can steal the signal. So I can see that if that happened, I think Michigan's going to get dinged one way severely. I really don't know what it's going to be, but I think that would be crossing the line, putting a coach on the road.
All right, literally 30 seconds. Florida, Georgia, without Brock Bowers, the Gators got a puncher's shot?
Sure, absolutely. There's not a lot of huge upsets in this game, but I think Florida's playing their best ball. Graham Mertz might be the story. Everybody made fun of this signing for Florida, but he's turning out to be a really solid quarterback in this system. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can run and mix it up. It should be a good football game.
He's Gary Danielson. He'll be in Jacksonville Saturday afternoon for the game formerly known as the cocktail party, or as he calls it, Florida v. Georgia. Gary, thanks for your time.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Got the sign comment in.
Yep, he did.
He got the sign comment in.
Thought you'd
Miller
like that.
I loved it. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening right here, Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Kenny, you got to realize it's the central time zone here. So it's only 6:16 here. So take a mental picture of what it's like at 7:16 in Carolina, and then we'll see what it looks like at 7:16 here in Minneapolis.
I just realized, because I saw on another thing I look at, that today is Johnny Carson's birthday. I'm like, I didn't have that. How did I not have that? It's because I did. Today was a day when for October 22nd last night.
Oh, good. It was my mother-in-law's birthday yesterday. And and my wife goes in the room and says, hey, morning, Mom, happy birthday. And she goes, yep, made it to 83. Well, I texted her when I found out. I said, well, now we need, the goal is to make it to 84. Go team. Oh, Kenny, when I moved out to Fargo, I was almost 29, and I had never lived outside of the Eastern time zone. And Fargo's pretty far west in the Central time zone, and it was awesome. In the summer, it'd be sunlight till 10 o'clock. Oh.
Yeah, Nashville was awful.
Because it's like, 50 miles into the Central time zone, something like that? Yeah, I loved being in the upper Midwest from a time zone standpoint. I actually grew to like the games and everything being an hour earlier. I did spend the first year and a half, 2 years. I was out in Fargo, though, never knowing what time it was. I said, what time? All right. So does that mean that's 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock? What time is that? Oh. No, fam, all of us, like my best friend lives in Denver. I tell him all the time, I go, you guys got it the best. Mark has said it for years. When he wins the Powerball and he moves, from a sports viewing standpoint, he wants to live in the Mountain time zone.
Yep.
It's the best time zone.
I'm walking, DC. We're a mile away. We'll walk.
I feel like every time I tell myself, I'd love to live in a place like Denver. That sounds nice. The South Florida boy in me says no. No, too cold.
Well, that is... Listen, I'm curious to see how Dion's going to feel with all the circulation problems he has, the altitude,
Good
and
point.
the cold. I'm being very serious here.
Yeah.
Very curious what Dion is going to think of that job in 2-3 months. It's why I don't think he's going to be there long. I actually think physically he's going to need to move. Although he could crush it in the new Big 12.
10 seconds.
That's true, Jim. Good point.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Felipe in the play of the day in a half dozen minutes or so. Chris Landry, talk all things football at the top of the hour. Angelique Chengelis, who covers Michigan. And the big story is now off the field with Michigan football. Are they cheaters? And if so, how and when should they be punished?
I am
Chengelis.
fascinated to talk to Angelique because there are a lot of things that Michigan is and are. Cheaters is never been associated with the University of Michigan.
No.
Never, David. And I just don't know how this one's going to sit with the important Michigan people, if you know what I mean.
I don't know how it's going to sit with the Big Ten. My understanding is that the Big Ten is part of this investigation. The Big Ten is not sitting on the sidelines here. That the Big Ten has gotten actively involved in this.
Well, that's smart because there's 3 people at the NCAA that can do a damn thing. So if they actually want to investigate it, they probably need to do something themselves.
Well, apparently schools in the Big Ten have been complaining for a couple of years. And so there is a lot of unhappiness in the Big Ten about this. Let me just ask you, you're Tony Petitti. You've had the job since May. You're the commissioner of the Big Ten. I'll ask it generically. You find out a school in your conference is cheating at football. What do you do? It's a generic question. You find out they're cheating. You have the evidence. You got them. What do you do? It's a simple question, Mark. Answer it. What do you do?
I think that you have to, depending on the level of you have to punish them. It's just to what level.
Okay.
And what are there's no precedent really here.
Exactly. Which works to your advantage, Mr. Petitti. By the way, you got 13 other schools behind you. Okay. Cheating is cheating. And you get a chance to be the new sheriff in town, baby. You know what I'm getting at here. You know where I'm pushing you.
Right. To take them right out of the playoff, to take them out of the Big Ten championship, to make them ineligible for a Big Ten championship game.
Bingo.
Because he can't really make any NCAA rulings, but he could say they're ineligible for the Big Ten championship game.
At which point, by the way, even if they win, even if they beat Ohio State and they're sitting on the sidelines at 12-0, the College Football Playoff Committee will not put them in the playoff. If the commissioner of the conference says this school has cheated and their punishment is they're ineligible for the conference championship, there's no way the College Football Playoff Committee, in my estimation, will overrule the commissioner of that conference and say, well, you guys can do what you want there, but we're going to put them in the playoff. Here's the thing. He's got to do it before they play Ohio State. What if Tony Petitti is going to do anything, Mark, he's got a month. Here's my thing, though. And now we have and me more than you even, have a tendency to simplify things. Either you got the goods or you don't. Either they have the emails in his laptop or they don't. The word is they got them. I mean, Michigan doesn't suspend this guy, okay, if there ain't something there. So I'm just curious, if you're the Big Ten, okay, and it could be any school, but we know who it is. If you have evidence they're cheating, especially if they did so this year.
Well, and that's the thing. What are you going to do? You're going to suspend them from the Big Ten championship next year, which is what college administrators like to do.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, This would be unprecedented to mid-season announce that a team's ineligible for the championship game.
But, I mean, as we talked about, to have the judgment come down in March, well, hell, 40 guys on this team aren't going to be there next year, including maybe even the coach. What, you're going to punish next year's team? We all think that that's bogus.
No, I'm with you, but that's what they do. It's what they've always done.
But to me, the interesting part of this is not an NCAA thing. The Big Ten is intimately involved in this. Why? Ask yourself why. And I don't just mean you, Mark, all of us. Why is the Big Ten involved in this investigation with Michigan? There's only one reasonable conclusion, because within the Big Ten, they've been screaming about this for a while.
I mean, when you heard that Michigan State thought about not playing the game, which is laughable.
Yes.
Laughable.
Because in actuality, they didn't
play the game.
They didn't Saturday. Hello.
You know, and I had to watch it because I got invited to someone's house to watch Michigan. Hey, what are you doing for the game? I'm like, I'm going to watch Florida State and Duke. So fortunately, we left at halftime because the daughter had to go to, it was bedtime and all that, and I could at least watch the second half of real football. But that did scream a couple of things. One, we're petty, which I think Michigan State's guilty of in this case, but also that what you said, David, that schools have been complaining about this for a long time.
My understanding is that a couple years. By the way, during that time, Michigan's won the Big Ten both years, and they've gone to the playoff both years. Some people may draw a conclusion. I'm just saying. There were many signs at the game on Saturday. Besides the fact that they put a Hitler trivia question on the video board. Holy blank. How many people do you have to fire there?
How many people can that school try to offend?
I mean, seriously.
Go in the trash bag again, David. It's really getting pathetic.
But I did see a sign somebody posted on the way to the game. I had a better sign, but Harbaugh stole it.
Ha.
Oh, that was pretty good.
I did think it was rich, though, that the Michigan State Board of Trustees quickly put out a letter admonishing what happened on the video board, but all wanted to keep the president who allowed the Nassar thing to happen for decades on campus. It's really rich of you folks.
No, well, you fire the video game coordinator, but, you have a scandal involving, we got to keep everybody.
Right.
That's a misunderstanding.
Pathetic. All right, let's move on.
I give Felipe credit. He's in his Dolphins. Is that a sweatshirt?
Yes. Dolphins sweatshirt.
Good for you.
We move on. It's okay.
Was that the first thing you found on the floor this morning, Felipe? Is that really?
No, I chose to wear this.
You chose to wear that.
I chose to wear this.
When there were hurricane things you could have wore over the win over the weekend. Good for you, Felipe.
Unranked Clemson win. Who cares?
So first ever conference win for Cristobal.
No, it's a big win, but let's not act like a crazy, massive win.
Felipe, they've been outscored 178-30 the last 4 meetings. Okay. All right. Wow.
Well, we know what's not the play of the day, but what is the play of the day, Felipe?
Well, I mean, we had a shootout in Indianapolis yesterday between the Colts and the Browns, a battle of 2 backup quarterbacks because Deshaun Watson suffered a pretty serious injury early in the game. Late in the fourth quarter, Gardner Minshew and Michael Pittman connect for a 75-yard touchdown. The Browns get the ball back to try to win the game.
Well, here we go. Hudson and Harris, Browns from the 1. This is the game. Out of the eye, they need the touchdown. Hunt and Harris. Walker gives to Kareem Hunt. Pushing, touchdown! Kareem Hunt got it across the goal line!
Kareem Hunt punches one of his 2 touchdowns for the day. ESPN 850 WKNR on the call. Browns win and move to 4-2. That's a tight division there. That AFC North.
5-2, 4-2, 4-2 atop that division. All right, all 3 would make the playoffs. You know how I like to do that, Martin.
Oh, I do. And that's where we saw it coming from, was the AFC North.
I actually picked 3 playoff teams for the AFC North, but one of them was not Cleveland. So there you go. Hey, Bucks, by the way, are the 7th seed if the playoffs started today in the NFC. Don't worry, they're going to lose Thursday in Buffalo, so that'll change. So enjoy it, Bucks fans.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, Gary, before I brought him on the air, was like, "Hey, good luck with your career." I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Very few people know him. He is a very nice guy. And he listens to our first hour and a half a lot.
I was going to say that means that he was listening to the first hour.
He exercises, during our first hour and a half, or hits golf balls or whatever.
What a life.
Yeah, he's worked hard for it.
By the way, I'm starting to reach a slight level of concern because my ribs still hurt.
From what?
Remember the injury that I talked to you about in the seesaw? It kind of every time I yawn, it hurts. It's probably bruised, and I just need to ice it and deal with it. But I'm hoping that it's just bruised.
Yeah. Problem is that's a delicate area.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to heal, in all seriousness. You'll have new respect for when guys play through broken ribs now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I always think about how Julian Edelman describes a football season, about how he says it's like getting into a car accident every week.
Oh man, he did another podcast this past week. He did Moss impressions and Moss stories.
I think that might be an older one, but I've seen some of the Moss, about being a rookie.
I hadn't seen it. Damn.
When he's a rookie and Moss yep. Classic. Classic. That's a couple weeks old. That's really funny.
I don't know how if you're a network, I don't know how you get him on, but I know Moss doesn't play anymore. Brady doesn't play anymore. Belichick's nearing the end, but golly.
He's like the JJ Redick of the NFL.
Well, and he does the impressions too. By the way, did you see the selfie? Bernie Kosar with Taylor Swift?
I did not.
No way.
Yeah. So I sent it to Gary because Gary and Bernie are tight. They were teammates together for years with the Browns. And I go, what is the story behind this? He goes, I don't know. I'll try and find out. So apparently the Kelseys grew up Cleveland Browns fans, and they both loved Bernie. And there's a picture of them playing outside together as kids, both wearing Kosar jerseys. So I guess Bernie Kosar was invited by the Kelseys to come to this game and be in their suite with them. And since obviously Taylor's now joined the clan, so there's a picture of Bernie with Taylor Swift. And I'm like, son of a gun. Selfies I never thought I'd see. But as Bernie sent out in a tweet, he goes, wow, 2 future Hall of Famers were wearing my jersey as kids. Damn. I'm trying to talk our buddy McBain off the ledge. Like, listen, if the playoffs started today, you'd be the 7th seed. You'd play the Dolphins. You own the Dolphins. You'd beat them. Then you'd go to Kansas City. Okay, just relax. Things can improve. It's a work in progress. He is having none of it. He's like, we're not 7-10. Okay, we're going to miss the playoffs. We suck.
7-10.
Oh yeah, he sent me the schedule. He said, "Show me where there's more than 3 wins on this schedule." And we talked about this. The AFC East has a very difficult schedule this year. They do, and there are a lot of tough games on their schedule. But also, he thinks Ken Dorsey has ruined the Bills.
10 seconds.
Absolutely ruined the Bills.
Jeez.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry, talk all things football at the top of the hour. Angelique Chengelis, she covers Michigan football specifically. There's a off-the-field story of brewing there. We will talk to Angelique about it. She's covered this program for over 30 years. She's never covered a story like this.
No, not really a school that gets involved in scandal, David.
No. So we will talk to her about what's going on in an hour. Okay. So Dolphins got beat. Wasn't that unexpected? Was it about the same, better, or worse than you thought they were going to get beat?
About what I thought. And I picked Miami on Friday. I did not know the situation, particularly of X being out. I mean, that when you're relying on Eli Apple to cover the number one receiver, it's going to make for a long night.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Yes.
What did A.J. Brown go for 167 yards last night, something like that?
And I'm surprised they held him to 167, to be honest with you, because he's terrible. In fact, there are a lot of people questioning, really, of all the corners that were out there 2 months ago, you signed Eli Apple? But anyway, so I'm asking because it's a fair conclusion to say the Dolphins are not a heavyweight, correct?
No, they're a light heavyweight.
Okay. So then the question becomes, much like after yesterday, do we now come to the conclusion that the Lions today are not a heavyweight, correct?
You have to come to that conclusion.
Okay. So the heavyweights are there just 3?
Well, it depends what you think of Baltimore.
Okay. So you think that it's Philly, KC, San Francisco, pick the order, and then you think the Ravens are sheepishly in the corner waving their hand going, don't forget about us.
They're the team that nobody wants to play.
Okay.
I do think since you go boxing, they're the fighter that you don't want to get on the inside with and slug it out.
Okay.
They could hurt you.
All right. Now, we got 10 games for most teams. Some teams have 11 still to play. We got a lot of time left. We got a lot that can happen, good and bad. So let me ask you, of the light heavyweights, those that you think, for whatever your reasoning, whether they're getting guys back off the injured list, whether there's room to grow as a team, whatever your reasoning. Let's put Baltimore in the heavyweight category because, quite frankly, Mark, when Lamar's healthy, they are a heavyweight. Each of the last 2 years, at the time Lamar got hurt, they were the 1 or 2 seed in the AFC. If Lamar's healthy, the Ravens are a heavyweight. I think that's a fair statement. Lamar's healthy right now, they're a heavyweight. Okay. Miami. Can they be a heavyweight? Yes. This year?
Yes.
Okay.
Waddle got hurt early in that game, so he was not really with you. You lose the ability to stretch the field without Waddle. They talked about that throughout the broadcast last night. You're without Armstead. You're without Ramsey. You're without Howard. No. The Dolphins have every bit of a chance to become a heavyweight.
Okay. Jacksonville. See, I think there's a lot of room for that team to grow. The biggest question mark coming into the year was on the defensive side of the ball. That's actually where they've played better. See, I think the Jags can be a heavyweight before this season's done.
ATN's playing really well. The defense is far better than what was expected from it. And the offense has plenty of room to get better as the season goes on.
Now, I mean, I wish their offensive tackle situation was better. I do. Fortunately, Trevor Lawrence is very mobile. But I think the Jags, see, you know, I would vote yes on the Jags. But then again, I was high on Jacksonville coming into the year. So that might be my bias. Pittsburgh.
No, they're not a heavyweight. They have a heavyweight defense.
Yes, they do. Is it fair to say there are 3 teams in the league that can show up and win a game defensively? Jets, Browns, and Steelers?
Yes. I know no one wants. Kansas City's not that far off. Look at what they have done this year. Look at what their opponents have scored. And just quit not mentioning Kansas City when we're talking about the best defenses in the league.
I will say it's a lot easier to play it when you're always playing with the lead, but I'm with you. Their numbers are outstanding. Cleveland, you know,
they're not a heavyweight. They don't have a quarterback.
Well, let's once again, we have 11 weeks. Deshaun Watson can get healthy.
Well, all right. He went down. He was cleared from concussion protocol yesterday and was not put back in the game because out of caution. Or did they not put him back in the game because everybody saw the same pass I did and said, I can't put that guy back on the field again?
Yeah. I mean, their official statement was we didn't put him back in to protect him from himself. Basically, if we put him back in, we knew he'd get hurt. Either that or he'd throw a pick 6, one or the other.
And it might have been B.
The Bills, who right now are they messed up. But remember, they ain't getting their number 1 cornerback back, and they ain't getting their tackling machine at middle linebacker back. Okay, so if you look at the Bills going forward, even if they figure it all out, are we having to drop the Bills from the heavyweight category for the rest of this year?
I think we are. When you give up that many points to the New England Patriots,
it's not good.
That's a cause for concern.
Yes, it is. But Mark, if you're without your best corner and you're without the guts of your defense, you know, the one thing I will say about Buffalo, though, they do have guys who can get pressure on the passer. Okay, they've got Josh Allen on one side of the ball, and they got a pass rush on the other side. You know, is that enough against the really good teams?
I think it's enough to get invited to the party, but not to go home with the prettiest girl, if you know what I mean.
I think it's enough to win one game in the party. I think you could beat anybody once, but I don't know if you could string 3 or 4 together. So we're dropping the Bills. We are officially dropping the Bills from the heavyweight division today. I want to make sure.
Yeah, at this moment, yes.
And that we think that the Dolphins have it in them to be heavyweights more so than the Bills going forward right now.
I think that's a factual statement given the fact of what the Dolphins we know for a fact are going to get back and what the Bills are not going to get back. It's just that simple.
Okay. I don't know if there's anybody else worthy of discussion. Cincinnati?
Oh, Cincinnati in the AFC is worth discussion.
Okay. Do you still look at the Bengals and go, oh, yeah, that's a heavyweight? I know they lost a couple fights here, you know, coming back from injury and, you know, but, oh, no, that's a heavyweight. Don't kid yourself.
I definitely look at them as a heavyweight contender. I don't know if they are right at this moment, David, but they definitely could be. They're still a light heavy, but they have the potential to jump a weight class before the end of the year.
Okay. So for the record, Kansas City, Baltimore in the division, Dolphins, Jags, Bengals. And then we're not buying Buffalo right now.
Not right at this moment.
Okay. Now to the NFC. Obviously, two heavyweights, seemingly on a collision course twice this year. They'll play in the regular season in December. I believe it's in Philly. And then, well, they'll probably play in the NFC Championship game at whoever wins the December game. So we got the Eagles and the Niners. Obviously, the Lions are not heavyweights today. Everybody else is in the light heavyweight division or lower. But when you look at the Lions, Mark, do you go, oh, yeah, they'll learn from this. You know, they're a contender on their way up. They got knocked out over the weekend. And you know what? They stepped up in class. They got knocked out. That's okay. It's all right. They fought the British fighter in England. That ain't easy. Okay, sometimes you get your butt kicked, but they can come back from this.
It's possible, but we will not know for quite a while because the Lions' schedule doesn't have a game that will really make us think about whether the Lions are any good until the end of the year when they play Dallas.
In Dallas. Which brings us then to, so they're a light heavyweight pending. But do you think they have it in them or you just can't tell?
This is hard for me because yesterday I saw the team that I'm familiar with. And, you know, I was reading some Lions stuff on X, and they're going, oh, the Lions fans are the worst. Here they are saying same old Lions. Well, after, 5 generations of bad football, I think the fan base has earned the right after a clunker to go same old Lions. But we will see. I'll put them as an incomplete right now because I have no idea how we're going to find out between now and Dallas. They just got to keep winning games.
I think the Lions are like the Dolphins. If I think the Dolphins can join the heavyweight division, I think the Lions can too. Seattle. See, I'm a no on Seattle, even though defensively they're a lot better. All right. And they've got 3 wide receivers. And Geno Smith's better than you think. And they have a Hall of Fame coach. But I'm a no on Seattle. I see Seattle as a light heavyweight.
I think that's their ceiling, David. I think they're a really nice football team. I'll use the same comment about them that you said about Buffalo. They can get anybody once. They can win 1 game in the playoffs. Hell, they might even be able to win 2. But I don't see them as a team that can win 4 games in January.
All right, here we go. Dallas. They're a light heavyweight. They've proven for 25 years they're only a light heavyweight. Okay. But at times they've entered the heavyweight division only to get beat. Are the Cowboys, do you see it in them where, Mark, you and I are boxing guys from back in the day. When the Cowboys geared up for the Niners fight, they got taken out in the second round. Boom, out. Oh, how's he going to pick up the pieces? And then what do? You go back to work, and 2.5 years later, you try to get yourself back in the same damn ring against that guy again. And today it's going to be different. Are the Cowboys a heavyweight?
I don't think so because I don't think they have enough weapons offensively to compete with the elite in the NFC.
Well, I'm with you on that. I think the Amari Cooper deal is the deal that has prevented Dallas from reaching where it is Jerry wants them to go. To get themselves in a cap situation where they felt they needed to unload Amari and only get a 5th-round pick back. Okay, that to me is, that's the one they need back of all the moves that Jerry has done.
Now, they make your move and go get Mike Evans at the deadline, we'll revisit this sucker.
There we go. Now we're talking. Let's go to work.
But I would be going to work if I were the Cowboys because I think they're a weapon shy of being a legitimate contender. When you look at what the Eagles have, when you look at what the Niners have, I just don't think Dallas has enough, David.
Okay. Is there any other team out there? We all need to think. Remember, the Lions were 1-6 at this point of the season last year. At this point of the season 2 years ago, the Eagles were 2-5. Is there 3 years ago, the Patriots were 2-4 and went on a 6-game winning streak. Is there a team that you look at out there who's not even a welterweight right now that you're thinking, why is this team not good?
Yeah, David, I think my retort to that is going to be, do you really think it's just going to be a winning record to get in the South, or is it going to be a barely winning record to get the last wild card in the NFC? Because the NFC is starting to shake out much like we thought it would this year. You said it earlier. The Bucs at 3-3 are the 7th seed right now.
Correct.
And this is the list of teams we're looking at: the Vikings, the Packers, the Bears, the Saints, Carolina at 0-6, the Rams.
Of all the teams that you've just mentioned, I actually think that's the best one.
I do too. But they're going to struggle to get to 8 wins this year.
Because of their schedule, if nothing else. Now, if they were in the NFC South, they'd win that division by a couple. So just trying to use the boxing analogy here after this weekend's games and the Lions getting pounded, the Dolphins getting put in their place. Okay, who's a heavyweight? Who's the light heavyweight right now, but you think will be a heavyweight by the end of the year? And who are you selling? Who are you like, you know what? I don't think they're a heavyweight anymore. Buffalo, Dallas. We're talking about you.
The Great 8 is ahead of us. Chris Landry to break down the film room, and Angelique Chengelis to talk about what's happening in Ann Arbor, all on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What if we go to the Michigan? Throw it up there.
Or do you just want to take today off since it's late? And
I'll take the day off.
Okay. And make fun of ourselves tomorrow.
Because we took Friday off too.
Right.
We
Just
had a
say,
4-day
"Hup."
weekend.
And we went on a 4-day Oreo bender.
The other thing that I thought was really bad yesterday in the NFL was tackling.
Especially with the Dolphins safeties.
A lot of games.
Defensive backs. But yeah.
What do we think of the Eagles uniforms?
I like the
love
Kelly
them.
green.
I love them. I think they're awesome.
Those were the uniforms the Eagles played in till the mid-90s.
Randall Cunningham.
Those were the Eagles that I grew up watching, of Jaworski and Wilbert Montgomery and Harold Carmichael, Bill Berge. Oh, yeah. Those are the units.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing? I can't see you guys for some reason. I can hear you. They got this.
We can see you.
They got this. I don't know what this thing is. I don't want to click it because I'm. Let me see what the. Okay, it's fine. It's something about some sort of little. Well, anyway, whatever. I don't know what this.
I look like I've been kidnapped and I'm in a bunker.
Okay, well, I have to take your word for it. I don't want to press anything. You know, I am. If I press,
That's how we're all that way, Chris. We're all that way.
Am I still there? You still see me?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I did press something, and it didn't work. So it's something that said Capilot in Edge. It's something that it's an AI assistant. So I don't know what that is. It's just blocking your whole screen. But anyway, anyway, good morning.
We see you. So there. And Chris, as far as I'm concerned, AI is Allen Iverson. So that's how far behind it I am.
Capilot and AI assistant features Microsoft and added to its Edge browser. So that's
man.
I thought that was
boy. This is a commercial right here of just
Right.
young. This is a spoof commercial on Saturday Night Live. 3 older white guys on their computer going, man, what button do I press?
Oh,
Just don't hit anything. We'll get away. We'll do it anyhow.
I know it.
So what did you dive into?
Well, I'm diving after I get done with you, but just on weekends, it's just absorbing the games live and taking notes and getting ready to dive into some of the work this week. But just some surprises, how bad the Bills are playing. The Lions' performance yesterday was, we're curious to see where that takes it. Game last night kind of jumps out at me a little bit,
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it is the Great 8 Hour on a Monday. Angelique Chengelis to talk about what's going on off the field in Ann Arbor with the Wolverines coming up in about 35 minutes' time. But Chris Landry joins us at this day and time every week. He of Landry Football. That's on Twitter/X and LandryFootball.com. LandryFootball.com. It is detailed. It is videos. It is scouting report. If you want to learn more about football, college, and pro, please go to LandryFootball.com and take in the expertise of one Chris Landry. Good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. How are you?
I'm doing well. Had a good weekend. A lot of surprises over the weekend. Not so much in college, but in the NFL. I thought it was a surprising day a little bit for me.
Well, let's just start with last night's Dolphins game because we weren't that surprised. On Friday, I picked Miami, but I had not seen the injury report, and Howard out and the line the way it wasn't a huge shock that they were beat. But what did you take from what Philadelphia did last night?
Just line of scrimmage. You've got to be able to run the football well to set things up defensively. When they're at full strength, and they weren't, they're really good. They're just, the takeaway is what I took away going into it, and this is what is going to be Miami's issue: is can they overcome teams that are better at the line of scrimmage? Can they get their fast-paced type of game going? And against the better teams, it may be more difficult. In the regular season, they'll be fine, but in a game like this, while it didn't have maybe a playoff feel, it did in the sense that those are two teams that are definitely going to be in the playoffs. So, yeah, the Eagles are more physical. And no, the Eagles haven't necessarily looked all that good on film, but they are really good at the line of scrimmage in both sides, and it's going to be a challenge for a team like Miami going forward in the playoffs to overcome that.
All right. And Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems to us as if Philly and San Francisco are in their level at the line of scrimmage. And even the Chiefs, for as great as they are even a half a notch below. So Miami's competing with the Chiefs, with Baltimore, with Buffalo, if you will, to just get out of the AFC. When you look at the bodies that Miami has, Mark referenced, they're going to get their two corners back. Okay, the front 6-7 is being constantly upgraded. Guys are getting healthier. When you look at Miami at 100%, can they compete in the AFC? They may never match up with Philly and San Francisco this year, but can they match up with who they have to go through with in the AFC?
They can, and they can compete against Philly and San Francisco. They just have to win their way. They're going to have to get off to quick starts. They're going to have to exploit a speed advantage, and they're going to have to play with a lead. And if they do those things and play that type of game, and if they can get the game going in their favor, they can win that way. It's against those two teams in the NFC. And the AFC, absolutely. I think they're the favorites in Buffalo. Buffalo's trying to figure things out right now in their own right. I still think Miami's in good shape to compete and win their division. Kansas City right now is a different looking team than if people haven't studied Kansas City. They're very good defensively. They're playing good on the front and the back end. They are doing a good job in coverage, and that their offense is very capable. Running it, throwing it, balanced. They're a little more complete than Miami, but they absolutely can compete with them. It's just beating them, obviously. We'll have to see who's healthy and how they're playing at that time of year.
Everybody talked about what Lamar did yesterday, and it was special. Lamar was terrific for Baltimore, but the reason I thought he was so terrific is how good their offensive line was. We talk about Philadelphia's offensive line. Detroit's offensive line has been mentioned as one of the better ones. Jackson had an eternity to throw the ball. Their O-line was great yesterday, Chris.
It really was, and, there's something about that game. When I looked at it, and I obviously got to go back and look at the tape, but I watched that game closely. It wasn't all that fun to watch, but the thing that jumped out at me was how you can't really prepare adequately for Lamar if you don't see him in person. The film doesn't do it justice. And I noticed that a lot of times when they play NFC teams that don't play them a lot, it's just like, whoa, the angles are not the same. If you play them in the AFC, particularly in that division, you at least know what you're getting. I think that had a lot to do with it. See, I think Detroit is a team that is good on the line of scrimmage, and I don't think that they're far away from, say, Philly and San Francisco in terms of their capabilities. Now, whether they're ready or not, I don't know. People are going to look at that game and say, oh, the Lions, they're a fraud. No, I don't buy that. We'll see going forward if they are or not. I just think Baltimore hit them. Baltimore was not prepared for the speed of Lamar to the extent that you just can't see it until it's in person. I think that's what jumped out at me in that game.
Chris, you're a former coach, scout, administrator. College and pro teams call you up and use you as a consultant. Have you talked to coaches in the last year and a half? Mark and I think there's an epidemic of insanity going on with college and pro coaches. Kick the field goal. Kick the extra point. 4th and 1.5 yards with the lead on your own 47 in the third quarter on the road. Punt. What is going on, Chris?
Here's what's going on. This analytical stuff. It's a lot of the offensive guys are buy-ins, and the offensive guys in particular love the idea of, well, hearing the percentages of going in and here and there. Here's what I say, and here's what I tell everybody, coaching buddies. Analytics without empirical understanding of your team in that particular game against that particular opponent is useless. I don't give a flip whether it says there's a 60% chance of this happening in a generic game. That doesn't matter. How well am I blocking the 3 technique? Am I struggling to protect the edge? Have I got a big advantage in their second? I mean, all those things factor in. How do I feel? What is being lost is the intuitive football skills of coaching, of understanding the moment. And sometimes it's 4th and 1 and you don't go for it because you're not getting the push. If you're Philadelphia and you always go for it. Those are the things that are lost. It's, the chart says it's not thinking, David. That's what it is. It's not having confidence in your intuitive football skills, which, old school as I am, you grow up figuring that out because you know your team and you know your opponent. And you know what? This decision is the way we go this week. Next week, it might be completely different because of how your team practice a certain thing and how your opponent can counteract it. That's what I see that's missing.
What will it take for it to retro itself back to where it was, or at least a portion of it? Because, as David pointed out, Tennessee-Alabama game, they don't punt. We're seeing teams. David and I both don't understand that, hey, down 14, score a touchdown. Let's go for 2 to get down 6.
Yeah, but you know what they say is, because the percentages say if you go for 2 twice, chances are take the darn points. It frustrates me.
By the way, Chris, I appreciate you twice now have expletives were coming out of your mouth. And we appreciate it.
They do when I'm talking, when I'm not on radio. It's so frustrating. Yeah, take the point. Now, listen, if you're a team in these offenses today that can't stop anybody, I get it. You keep the ball because your better chance is it's 4th and 8. I got a better chance of converting 4th and 8 than stopping them because I can't stop a nosebleed on defense. If you got a team that bad, I at least understand what they're doing. But the game is, it's going to be a 20-17 game, and you're going to pass up a field goal. I mean, a field goal is worth gold at that point. Yeah, take the points. And yeah, it is frustrating. They're relying too much on the darn sheet.
Your gut feeling without Brock Bowers, is Georgia gettable in the next month? They've got Florida, then they've got Missouri, they've got Ole Miss and Tennessee. Obviously, they'll be favored in all 4, maybe by double figures in all 4. But without Brock Bowers, Chris, trying to see the guy they have on offense that has to be double teamed. In theory, for the first time in forever, Chris, a defense could send extra guys after a Georgia quarterback without fear of a quick death.
Yes, and how much he had an impact in the running game, how much he was able to clear the box one, and how they used him sometimes formationally in the backfield. Yeah, I think they're gettable even with them. I think we've seen that. I think it's going to be tough. I think that what this will do, what I think is going to happen. So, yes, they're gettable, to answer your question. Will they be gotten? No, I don't think so. I don't think Missouri is good enough to beat them unless Georgia really plays poorly. And I think as we get into Missouri, Florida, those games, Ole Miss, those games are going to be real challenges. I think the complacency factor. affects Georgia, or it has at the beginning of the year. I think they're just going to lean more on the defense stepping up, other guys stepping up in the passing game. The court may be unleashing a little bit more of the quarterback. That could be good or bad. You can make mistakes. But I will say this. I asked this question because I don't know. I think they would have, but do they beat Auburn without Brock Bowers? Go back and think in your mind.
Oh, I was there. I don't think they do.
Boom, he carried him down the stretch. Now, again, time to recover without him and everybody to adjust. I think they'll be fine. Yeah, they're gettable. This is not a dominant. I don't see a dominant team in college football. I still think they're as good as any. I still think they beat Florida. I still think they beat Ole Miss. I still think they beat Missouri. But yeah, they're gettable. It wouldn't shock me if one of those teams got them.
Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. LandryFootball.com. Follow him on what we call Twix, Twitter/X at Landry Football. Chris, thanks for your time and your insight. Have a great week. We'll do it again next week.
I'm going to wash my mouth out with soap. Thanks. Take care.
Just your thoughts. Your mouth was clean.
Hey, thanks, guys. Take care.
Oh, that had to make you feel so good to see him get as hot as you get about the analytics, David.
I was very afraid, though, the first time he began a word with the letter F, and you and I both went, and then he went fudge or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's the best flip we've ever had on this show.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Chris Landry bringing the passion today on analytics. Angelique Chengelis in 25 minutes to talk about what's going on with the University of Michigan. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next trip by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Smoke Dog, I know what you're saying. Don't you think if they move on from Eberflus after his second year, don't you think the guy they go after is Harbaugh?
Yes.
I mean, isn't that the natural? Another interesting part of this Michigan thing is that reportedly, like a couple of weeks ago, apparently they were about to announce, we'll talk to Angelique about this, a big extension for Harbaugh. So, well, there's no doubt, Smoke Dog, that, if I'm the Chargers, I call Harbaugh up. But, this is also where a life comes into play here. He's been in Michigan now almost 10 years. And he's got a family and a young family. Remember, they had their last child only a few years ago. Do you go Chicago or do you go LA? Yeah, DC, I know that's what he said.
But he also now thinks there's a witch hunt against him in college.
Right. The NCAA's after him twice. So, plus, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he can put a better team together than the one he has this year. I don't. I don't know if he'll have a better team than the one he's got. He's got 8 deep on the offensive line. He's loaded at the first 2 layers of defense. Loaded. He's got 7 defensive linemen, 8 offensive linemen. He's got an elite wide receiver. He's got 2 tailbacks. He's got an NFL tight end. And he's got an NFL quarterback.
Sounds like the Eagles.
I mean, you really think Jim Harbaugh is going to put a better team together at Michigan than the one he's got this year? Has Michigan had more talent on a roster, experienced talent in the last 25 years?
Last 50 years.
Well, the 97 team was really good. There were some teams there in the 90s that were really good. I mean, shit, Mark. I know John Cooper was coaching those Ohio State teams, but those Ohio State teams were so loaded to even be able to beat those teams. You had to have an obscene amount of talent. Besides, DC, when you're a college coach, you have to say that because otherwise everybody uses it against you in recruiting. So no, I wasn't interested in the Vikings. They were interested in me. We talked. It was fun. I'm not going anywhere. That's what every coach says. Until the press conference, which announces their departure. Well, yeah. I mean, like we asked Harbaugh what were his hobbies a month ago. He said cutting the grass. Does that sound like an LA guy to you? Besides, if he wins in Chicago, if he wins with the Chargers, who's going to care? If he wins with the Bears, oh, man.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Angelique Chengelis covers the Wolverines on the field. Not much to cover. They've been great against inferior competition. Off the field, are they cheaters? Are they the Astros? And is college football going to let them win a World Series like baseball let the Astros win one before they catch them and punish them? We'll talk to Angelique about the intrigue on the outside involving the Wolverines coming up in about 15 minutes or so. Did you like that? How I presented that?
It's a great presentation, David.
Who's Altuve? I mean, that's the thing. See, the problem is Altuve, when they cheated, it was 2017. Here we are 6 years later, although nowadays you can have a college guy play 6 years and what have you. I mean, is Blake Corum Jose Altuve? Problem is he's leaving after this year. He can't stay 5 more years.
No, Jim Harbaugh is.
Oh.
Jim Harbaugh is.
Okay.
I mean, he is. I love him.
I know you do.
I really do.
Do your Michigan State fans, can they handle how much you love Harbaugh at Michigan? Because you've been saying this now for 5 years. Do your Spartan fans hear you and text you and go, what are you talking about?
I don't care. I don't want him to go coach on Sundays. He's perfect there. College football is better with him there, and it will be if he's there for the next 10 to 15 years. It truly will, David.
Yes,
You
please.
keep going back to the old school guys. He is an old school guy. He's the exact guy you want in coaching on Saturdays. And I know I'm speaking in cliche. I get it. He is. He's a walking cliche.
Mark, college sports is losing a lot of its personality. Absolutely. We've seen it in the last handful of years in basketball on the sidelines. We're losing it. And Mike Leach, tragic passing. I mean, we have a personality, vacuum. Absolutely.
Lane's got to get to a better school quick.
Well, and not only that, he's trying to the problem is he's now trying to behave so he can get to that school so that he can open up again. He's trying to get the Alabama job. I mean, he's trying to behave well enough so that, they think he's not going to embarrass him. Or he'll embarrass him, but only to a point. And it's a point they can live with. I mean, if you think about it, Mike Price had to resign the job 20 years ago because he got caught in a strip joint. Hell, that wouldn't get you fired today.
Might get you a promotion.
I was going to say, you could just say you were on an NIL mission. Hello. Anyway. So was this the weekend in which the light heavyweights failed at becoming heavyweights? Penn State against Ohio State, the Lions, the Dolphins. Was this the, you had your shot, but.
Right. And the bad part is on Saturday, David, it's the only shot you get. On Sundays, you can go regroup. You can go back to the gym. You can figure out a way to get another shot at the title, if you know what I mean. Penn State, yes, in theory, they could go beat Michigan and get to a Big Ten championship game. But was there anything that anybody watched out of the Penn State-Ohio State game that says, oh, they get Michigan at home, they'll be fine?
So this is what we're missing this year. And this year is a far better year than most in college for the number of quality teams we have. We don't know if we have a single great one, but we think, man, do we have, 8, 10 very good ones? Bud Elliott and the folks at 24/7 last night said, based on rankings, this is the 12-team playoff field as of next year. Now, and this is going with 6 conference champions, because remember, this year we still have the Pac-12, so next year's bracket would look different. But Georgia's the 1, Michigan's the 2, Florida State's the 3, Oklahoma's the 4. All right. The 5 seed, Oregon. 6 seed, Ohio State. I don't quite. Okay, because Oregon, he's got Oregon, I guess, winning the Pac-12.
Okay.
So they went with that. I guess Oregon wins the rematch with Washington. Okay, so he's got Oregon. Yeah, he's got them listed here as the Pac-12 champs. Oregon at 5, Ohio State at 6. All right, Bama's the 7, Washington's the 8. Penn State's
the 5, 6, 7, 8 again, just because these are teams that would be hosting games, by the way.
Okay, Oregon would host Air Force in a 5-12. Air Force would be the 6th conference champion. Oregon would host Air Force. Ohio State would host Texas, in a 6-11 game. Bama would host Oregon State in a 7-10 matchup. It's my Beavers, by the way, my Pac-12 champion, Oregon State Beavers. And Washington would host Penn State in an 8-9. Georgia plays the winner of the 8-9. Oklahoma plays the winner of the 5-12. Florida State would play the winner of Ohio State, Texas. That interest anybody? And Michigan would play the winner of Alabama, Oregon State.
I will say, it sounds amazing, and it sounds really exciting. Will it sound as exciting when there's no Pac-12 and no ACC?
Wow.
Well, I mean, it sounds great the way you laid it out there with Oklahoma and Texas where? In the Big 12.
No, you're right, Mark. You are. It's a very good point because what are we going to have in a year or two, no more than 3? If we're down to 3 major conferences with the Big 12 not even in the same area code as the Big 10 and the SEC, and the ACC, maybe if they're still alive, who's left in them? They're the ACC in name only. In which are they really better than, quite frankly, the reconfigured Mountain West? Or if that conference is the reconfigured Pac-12, but you know what we're getting at. And you're right, Mark, because what we're going to have then is we're going to have 4 SEC and 4 Big 10. And we're going to have a Big 12, and we're going to have a Mountain West or somebody else. And I don't even know who
champion or something's going to get into this thing.
And then, a weak ACC champion or what have you. But, I mean, you're going to have 4 SEC, 4 Big 10 going forward.
So as great as this sounds, David, it sounds great with the landscape in college football looking like it does right now, not like it will look like next year.
Because if I do the math here, I mean, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, and Washington are Big 10 schools a year from now, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And if Oklahoma and Texas join Georgia and Alabama, I'm sorry, I forgot Penn State. We have 5 Big 10 teams.
Yes, we do. 4 SEC and 3 from the remaining conferences.
Great. And the remainders are Florida State, Oregon State, and Air Force. And, of course, who knows? Maybe Florida State's joining the SEC. Maybe we'll have 5-5, 1-1. I mean, think about it, Mark. Right now, the 8-9 matchup is an all Big 10 affair between Washington and Penn State. At least it will be in a year or so.
So as much as I like the 12-team playoff for this year, I don't know going forward with 2 major conferences and the rest.
No, you make a dadgum good point. No, it's very sexy this year. In fact, it makes you go, you sure we can't go backwards? Man, the Pac-12 going back, it would look pretty Dion in the Pac-12. All these schools got their act together finally at the same time. You sure we can't get a TV deal? Everybody's watching all these games. What do you mean we can't get a TV deal?
This would have all happened a year ago. The Pac-12 might have been able to remain. Unbelievable.
Remain? It'd be the 3rd best conference.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
One of those fun numerical dates today, 10/23/2023.
Oh.
Why, just 23?
Yeah, 10/23.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of funny numerical dates, and I recall the time that Jalen Suggs hit a buzzer-beating game winner in the Final Four on 4-3-2-1. That's pretty good.
That is good.
Yeah.
What is it? New Year's Eve this year is 1-2-3-1.
What?
New Year's Eve has that this year. It's like,
Oh yeah, 1-2-3-1. 2,
No,
3.
it'll be 1-2-2-1-1-2-4.
No, 1-2.
New Year's Eve. It'll be 1-2-3.
Oh.
1-2-3, 1-2-3. That's a good one.
Oh.
That's a good
Okay,
one.
yeah. New Year's
1-2-3, 1-2-3.
1-2-3, 1-2-3.
ABC.
And in 11 years, January 2nd will be 1-2-34.
Look at that. Was it a fair catch or was he waving his arms sideways?
Apparently, if you put your arms straight out like that, if anybody on the kicking team puts their arms straight out like that, that's, fair catch. We're not going to play the ball, what have you. And apparently, it wasn't one of the two guys on the goal line. It was somebody on the 15-yard line who did it. It took us a long time to find that replay.
No, I'm talking the Iowa-Minnesota game.
Oh, I thought it was. Still an under, by the way. But they would have covered.
Yeah.
And they would have won. Wes, here's my thing. If my kid starts the year, he's got to play. Okay, now skipping a bowl game or something like that, that's one thing. But if he gets hurt, not coming back, that's another. But no, if my son was Caleb Williams, you committed to this team. You can still win the Pac-12 title, by the way. No. You got to keep playing.
Angelique's on hold. We're back in 15.
Great.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 minutes before the hour is up, and then the Diamond District bonus hour for those in the 239 will ensue. Angelique Chengelis, kind enough to join us once again. She covers the Michigan Wolverines for the Detroit News. You can follow her on Twix, Twitter/X at Chengelis, Chengelis, Chengelis. Angelique, it's David and Mark. It's been 6 weeks. How's mom? How's the family? How are you?
Well, I mean, it feels like if you just wait a minute, there's going to be a new drama, new controversy at Michigan. So that, it's always something here, but everybody's fine. Thank you. I hope you're all doing well.
We are, and thank you for asking. And Angelique, all right, just try to break this down for us as best you can. Give us a little bit of background on when this all came about. This story's moving rapidly of the sign stealing at the University of Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that the Big Ten alerted Michigan on Wednesday, as well as Michigan's upcoming opponents, including Michigan State, who Michigan played last Saturday night, and informed them that the NCAA is looking into sign stealing allegations, illegal sign stealing. I think everybody has established that it's legal to steal signs within a game. I mean, I think pretty much, as I've talked to coaches that I've known over the years, every team has one or two, maybe more people on the sideline who are really adept at trying to pick off signals from the other sideline. The allegations are that, and there's nothing specific. I mean, this confirmation came from the Big Ten, not from the NCAA. So there were no details. As far as I know, there's no draft of a notice of allegations or a notice of allegations from the NCAA to Michigan, which would detail some of this. But what we understand is Michigan had a low-level staffer. His name is Connor Stallions. He's been around for a while. I've known him. I've seen him. Don't really know him. And he is the guy that everybody has sort of fingered in this, and that he apparently had some kind of operation, I guess is the best way to describe it, and potentially was having people go to other games and film signals for him to then later decipher, because he really did. Connor Stallions had an amazing reputation at Michigan for being like a sign stealing savant. So that to me is the crux of this and what they're looking into, and that would be illegal. You're not allowed to do that. But the thing about the NCAA rule book is it lists this and says it's illegal, but doesn't say what kind of violation is it. I mean, you sort of know that a recruiting violation is level 2, which is what Michigan faced earlier this year, but what is it? It doesn't say. So I'm not sure where this is going and how complex and severe it will be. But, with a pre-existing NCAA investigation at Michigan that hasn't concluded, I suspect the NCAA is really going to look hard at this.
Angelique, what is the Big Ten's involvement in this investigation? What I was told is that the schools have been complaining for a while, and that the Big Ten is finally getting involved. If that's true, as opposed to they just picked up the phone and called Michigan and said, hey, just so you know, the NCAA is looking into another situation. If the Big Ten gets involved, doesn't that make this more serious? Because the Big Ten can hand down punishment much more quickly than the NCAA ever would.
Well, that's a great point. And my experience with the Big Ten in things like this is I'm not sure how quickly they move. I mean, I think that they felt an obligation based on what they knew from the NCAA and that the NCAA was going forward. And again, we don't know that this actually just came down a couple days ago. My sense is that the Big Ten and the NCAA have known about this for several weeks because, like you, I've heard from other sources in the league that this is not new. I mean, this is not something that just somebody called on Tuesday and said, hey, you know what, we got some information. Michigan's been doing this. And I think at this stage, my hunch is that the Big Ten is, they want to sort of back off this. Here, it's in the NCAA's court. You do with it what you will. And it felt to me like the Big Ten's, what their responsibility was in the moment was to notify these other teams and to say, look, you have options here. And I think Harlan Barnett, after the game, the Michigan State interim coach, said that there was some conversation of not playing this game. I don't think he was part of that. He clearly wanted to play this game. But I think that's what the Big Ten is saying. You do with this information what you will. And but just so you're aware. And that's why you saw, particularly in the first half, I mean, the Michigan State quarterback was running to the sideline and the backup quarterback was kind of running up to him on the field to give him the signal, so that there were no signals being signaled into the quarterback, into the team. So, it's going to be like this for a while now, I think.
Michigan could have told Michigan State every play they were running before the play started and not had any problem in that football game. So I'm not too worried about that. But does Michigan feel as if this is a witch hunt against them with what happened earlier in the season and Harbaugh being suspended? Does Michigan feel like this is the NCAA against them, or are there people inside the administration in Ann Arbor that are wondering what the hell's going on?
Well, it's interesting. I do think it's mostly people thinking, especially Jim Harbaugh, that there's a target on him in particular, that the NCAA is after him, that this is a witch hunt. And, you're seeing people in the national media like Feinbaum sort of backing that up. But there's also a lot of others who say, well, this is illegal. You can't do this. And maybe he didn't know. And that's what he said in his statement. That's what's out there, that Jim Harbaugh had no knowledge of this, and perhaps Connor Stallions, if this network of people he was hiring, going out and recording stuff, maybe he was doing that on his own. But when you look at the NCAA rules, they did slip in something at the end of last year. I mean, really, late last year, about their head coach responsibility, and they really upped the ante for head coaches. And it used to be, well, if assistant coach X was doing something wrong, well, that coach really took the fall, and rightfully so, obviously. But now with this new clause in the NCAA regulations, it's an umbrella for the head coach. I mean, the head coach is responsible for everyone on his staff, and I think that's what really got people in Michigan upset, is that with this pre-existing NCAA investigation, how are they going to look at this now, and will that be applied to this ultimately? But to go back to your original question, yes, I do think that the one thing I had a very, just a chit-chat conversation with Michigan's athletic director before the game, and his problem with this whole thing is, and obviously he said they're going to cooperate with the investigation, but that the immediate national response to this is guilty before innocent, and all the headlines about, Michigan being labeled a cheater, he finds that extremely unfair, and I think that's all part of your question about this being a witch hunt and targeting Michigan for a reason.
Angelique Chengelis has covered the Michigan football program for a long time, and she's done so for the Detroit News, and she's kind enough to join us. Follow her on Twix, Twitter/X at Chengelis, Chengelis. Can we have some fun for 30 seconds here? Angelique, you are older than 25, and you have been around college athletics for more than an hour and a half. Have you ever met a more control freak than the college football coach at a major or basketball coach at a major university. You know what I'm getting at here? When they say, well, I was unaware. Is there anything that a major college football or basketball coach is unaware of within their program?
Well, I mean, I think people can say, well, your parents aren't aware of everything you do. Yeah, this is different. You're in a building. I think head coaches know everything that's going on. If they don't know, then someone on their staff knows. And, I do think it's really hard to say, well, I didn't know anything for any circumstance. So, yeah, I agree. They are micromanagers also, and they do know what goes on in their building.
Relative to the rest of the college football world, when's Michigan been this good last? How good is this team compared to historical Michigan teams, Angelique?
Yeah, I mean, I have covered the team for a while, and I was actually going to start looking back at the 1997 statistics because I was thinking specifically about the defense. The numbers they put up in 97 were very comparable to this and just so stingy. But the balance has been really, I can't remember when I've seen this much balance. I mean, that 97 team had a very good offense, but not a very, I don't know. It was a good offense. It wasn't flashy. This quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, is really, really good and extremely talented. They've got a couple tight ends now who are clearly people saw what they did against Michigan State Saturday night. I thought a weakness. I know we talked during before the season that receiver would be an issue, and Roman Wilson has really stepped up. So all in all, I mean, the way the defense is rolling and the fact that these guys are resting. J.J. McCarthy has essentially, I was thinking about this last night, sat out probably a game and a half. When you look at the last 4 games, he's been out. He's missed the fourth quarter, and so a couple of the games he was out earlier in the third. So these guys are staying really fresh. And Mike Samerstill, who had the pick 6 Saturday, I was talking to him about that this week, and he said what really helps is that the 1s and the 2s are staying so fresh that the practices Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are even sharper than they ever have been because they are really hitting. They are really getting focused, and that's what's carrying into the games. And now they have a bye, setting them up for this big push in November. So it's going to be really interesting with them being rested for the most part and then having this bye, how that launches them into Penn State and Ohio State and those last 4 games.
Is there talk of a new contract for Harbaugh, and has it been pushed to the side because of everything that's going on outside?
Well, yes, there has been talk, and it was a week ago Monday. Harbaugh was asked about it. I asked a couple follow-ups. He says he wants to be somewhere where he's wanted. Does he feel wanted at Michigan? Yes. I did text Ward Manuel after that, and Ward's been getting a lot of heat here from fans that they don't think he's been proactive enough on that, and they want to keep Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. And Ward texted me right back saying that that's what he hopes to have done in the near future. But with this latest situation, I think that there was probably some ground made in terms of working on an offer. And but I do believe that has been not completely off the table, but I believe suspended for now until they feel. I'm not sure how long Ward Manuel would want to wait, but this is for people who are just waving it off as well. Everybody does it. Well, no, this has got different levels and layers to it, and one of the layers is how will it affect Ward Manuel and President Ono and Jim Harbaugh working on this contract, and it has.
So with the bye week, do you go back to Cincinnati for some Skyline chili that you've been longing for? What do you do during a bye week?
Bye week is actually, I always find it harder, a lot more to do because there's so many stories I want to work on. You've got games coming up that you just don't have time during the game week. So I'm using this time to work ahead, and I have to go out to Ann Arbor today and tomorrow. And, there's always something going on. So Skyline is going to have to wait, unfortunately, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it even more.
Okay, if you say so. It's not our thing, but it's your thing. Angelique Chengelis, the Detroit News, covering Michigan Wolverines football. Angelique, I know I said it to you a month ago, and we've said it to you over the years. Thanks so much for your time and your insight, and stay well.
Thank you. You guys do the same. Thank you.
Angelique Chengelis. Follow her on Twix, Twitter/X at Chengelis, Chengelis. And for those not familiar with her work, during that interview, do you see how whenever anything's going on, she's been around long enough, has the credibility long enough, she can just text the AD, get an answer right back. Okay. Answering the coach questions, follow-up questions. That's one of the reasons why we go to her. She's actually really in the know.
Very much so. Very good at what she does and covers Michigan. And I don't want to say she downplayed it, but didn't you get the sense from her that she doesn't think anything will happen this year?
Right. I came into the show with the feeling that the Big Ten is more involved than Angelique gave the impression the Big Ten's involved. She made it sound like the Big Ten just picked up the phone and said, hey, just want to let you know I got a call from Indianapolis, and they're looking into you guys for sign stealing. Oh, okay. Thanks for the call. I have kind of been told by a few people that, yeah, people in the conference have been screaming for 2 years. And trust me, the Big Ten knows. Now, Tony Petitti may be on the job for an hour and a half. He may just be hearing about it. But trust me, folks in the office know.
Now, what the Big Ten does from this point, we have no idea.
Right.
What the NCAA does, we'll hand a suspension down in 3 or 4 years if they do anything at all.
Right. It'll be a level 3 violation. It'll cost Jim Harbaugh a $150 gift card to Starbucks.
And a box of hamburgers from Crystal. Miller and Moulton. The bonus hour in the 239 is next. Thanks so much for listening to us right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It's funny because it could be sunny and nice here. I have no idea. I get inside this room. It's the same light. Felipe's in the dark over there. I feel like it's still 5 a.m. And then you put the curtain just a little bit open. I see the nice blue sky in the background. It's like, oh, look at how nice it is out there. Oh, he's in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it looks brighter than it is. It's actually pretty cloudy. It rained overnight. It's supposed to not rain the rest of the day. I hope not. I didn't bring a jacket. So
But around the time of the year that it gets cold at that stadium, is it still like room temperature, or is it still a little cold in there?
Oh no, it's 72 degrees. All domes are.
It's amazing.
Okay. The one that has a chance to get cold is SoFi. It's open on the ends.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, okay. So if there's a cool night, it can get cool in that stadium.
It was funny yesterday. Eve plops down to watch a Steeler game, and she's like, we're sitting there watching for a little bit, and something happened. There was a big play for the Steelers, and it was loud. She's like, aren't they? I'm like, yes, they are on the road. Yes. She's like, there are a lot of Steeler fans there. LA has no fans.
Should have been there Monday night for the Cowboys Chargers. You know what was funny? The little things, how hard they had to work to put Chargers fans up on the screens. Okay, how tight the shots had to be. Never more than like 4 people in a shot.
Well, they got blamed for the one fan saying being a paid actor.
Right. The one time that,
they had that crazy woman on there that people said was a paid actor.
She wasn't, though.
No, I understand it, but she was such a crazy fan that people thought that she was being paid.
Right. The one time they show a crazy Chargers fan, everyone thinks it's fake. That's how bad it is.
By the way, my mom just loved the show today.
Thanks, Mom.
She loves Gary, loved Chris, loved Angelique. My mom hates all women in sports.
Really?
Okay, so, oh my God, listen.
Oh my gosh.
No one is harder on women in sports than other women. It's unbelievable how tough women are on other women, especially in sports. I've never seen anything like it.
I just want to know who she has an issue with.
No, you don't want to ask my mother such an open-ended question like that. It's like asking Mark and I, so who have you guys crossed off your list? It's like, oh, geez, where do we start? How many do I get? KW, the first Super Bowl in Minneapolis, I covered. CBS, for their affiliates, had a place with the Metrodome right in the background. Yeah, it was on the 4th story roof of a building. Yeah, uncovered. So we're 4 stories up in late January.
Oh,
standing on a roof holding a metal microphone. All right. Doing a live shot, winds whipping like crazy.
10 seconds.
It was a great visual, and that's all CBS cared about. They just set up the visual. Yeah, you stand there. We don't care.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Man, the Monday show has flown by. Gary Danielson, Chris Landry, Angelique Chengelis, and just like that, we're into the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton exclusively for Southwest Florida, our longtime base, and we're very appreciative. We wouldn't have a show without all of you, and we don't say that nor take it lightly. Hope you had a great weekend, and thanks for starting your week off with us. It is Florida-Georgia week. And there's a little bit of oxygen to the game because Florida finally showed up offensively in their last game, and Georgia's best player is out for the rest of the regular season. So Gators now are thinking, you know what? We got a shot at this sucker. Did you see what the point spread is? Mark?
I was just looking it up as you said that. I'm like, what
Take
kind
a
of
guess.
travel-
Don't look.
It's too late.
Damn.
It's too late. I
Okay.
wouldn't expect it to be that high.
Thank you. What were you thinking? Around 9-10?
9-10?
And what is it?
14.5.
Right. And that's without Brock Bowers. Yeah. I'm telling you, bet the game right now. Get the half. I'm not kidding. If you're thinking, I'm going to bet Florida, bet it now. It's 14.5. Bet it now. Don't ask me how you can bet it legally in Florida, okay? I wish I could tell you. I mean, come on. We know guys. There's ways, but you know what we're talking. You know how you do it. Just do it. Okay?
So here I am trying to have another winning week, going 2-1 on Saturday.
I know. And the one was brutal. Miller, Moulton, and Lee Sterling all on Tennessee, getting 9.5 at Alabama with a 20-7 halftime lead. Seriously? We lost this game?
I will say I can take it a lot more easily than you can because I had Florida State that was down 17-7, and I'm laying 14.5, and they covered.
Okay, well, and there's a common denominator of both those games. So we'll start with the Florida State-Duke game. And it was Saturday night. I was not watching. I was driving. But Duke's up 20-17. They drive inside the 10-yard line. It's 4th and 4. Late third quarter, they're up 20-17. What do? Oh, they go for it, of course. They don't get it. And
4th and 4.
4th and 4. Right. Not 4th and 1.
4th and 4. Not 1, not
Right.
2. 4th and 4.
And they've moved the ball all day. They've scored points. And I thought to myself, I'm following the game. I'm like, well, you obviously kicked the field goal here. You go up 23-17. You kick off with about 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. No, they went for it. And when they didn't get it, I said, well, this game's over. And sure enough, the game was over. Now, you could argue, well, that's why he went for it, because he knew that he wasn't going to be able to hold Florida State down. You could make that argument. You're on the road. Okay, it was a very productive drive. You're winning. You're not down 10. You're up 3. What's wrong with kicking the field goal?
And here's the thing. Here's where I want to speak to the analytics people. I get it that you think you have to score to keep up. But if you kick the field goal, you're up by what? 6. So if they come down and score and kick the extra point, they are leading by what? 1.
Thank you.
What does that mean you have to do to take the lead again, as opposed to being down by 4? I mean, this is only first grade math. We're not asking difficult questions here. But 2 field goals are enough to negate the 1 touchdown by Florida State.
Right. And I get that you think, well, field goals aren't going to beat them. I'm going to need touchdowns. Okay, you still have 18 more minutes left in the game. You've moved the ball up and down the field. You're going to have 2-3 more possessions to get those touchdowns. Take the points. In the earlier game, Tennessee at Alabama, don't know how many of you saw. So Tennessee's up 20-7 at the half. Alabama has a really good first 7-8 minutes. In fact, it couldn't ask for much better. Alabama got the ball, scored, and then Tennessee totally misplayed a kick in which somebody inadvertently fair catched it. So when the guy caught it at the 3, that's where Tennessee had to start their drive. And Alabama gets a field goal out of it with great field position. So Tennessee gets the ball mid-third quarter. They have a 3-point lead. They get a first down. And then they 4th and 1.5 yards, and it's clearly 1.5 yards. I thought they got a bad spot. Should have been 1 yard, but it was clearly 1.5 yards. The markers are on the Tennessee side of the field. I mean, Josh Heupel's looking at how far they need. They had gotten stopped on 4th and less than 1 yard in the second quarter. Now, mid-third, 4th and twice as long. They go for it, run the same play, by the way, and you're not going to believe this. They got stopped again. And so Alabama takes over on the Tennessee 47, trailing by 3. What's wrong with a punt? You pin them out at the 10-yard line? I mean, they're not a juggernaut offensively. Okay? I mean, what's wrong with a punt? There's plenty of time left in the game. Okay, it's disappointing. This drive's not going to end in points. Oh, well. Punt! This isn't Mac Jones and 4 first-round picks. This isn't Tua and 4 first-round picks. This isn't Jalen Hurts and 4 first-round picks. This isn't Derrick Henry winning a Heisman in the backfield here. Okay, come on now. This is 2023 Alabama. This is a very good, solid team. This ain't a great team. This ain't a great offense. Punt the flipping ball. Kick the flipping field goal. How about Penn State? They score against Ohio State, make it 20-12. They go for 2. Kick the extra point. What is wrong with everybody? It's driving me crazy, as you could tell. It really is. No,
I know.
These guys are making millions of dollars, Mark. Millions of dollars. These programs are small Fortune 500 companies. They need to be run well. Okay, I wrote down on a card for Gary, and he didn't have time to use it. But when Heupel was going for 2 or going for the first down on 4th and a yard and a half, I just wrote risk versus reward, ? Isn't that what you're supposed to do as a head coach? He wasn't on the Alabama side of the field. He was on his own side of the field. Even if he converts it, where is he? He's at midfield. He needs at least 15 more yards to have a chance to score points. This isn't I get a first down, I'm in field goal range. I mean, Mike McDaniel last night, it's 17-10. It's mid-third quarter. It's 4th and 3 on the 21. Okay, send the field goal. No, we're going for it. Am I missing something? Is there 6 minutes left in the game, or is there 6 minutes left in the third quarter? Oh, third quarter. Well, then kick the damn field goal. You need 2 scores to take the lead. Here's one of them. And now people are going to go, well, the next play Hurts threw a pick 6. Well, just imagine if they kicked the field goal, kicked off, and then on the next play threw the pick 6. Wow, now the Dolphins would have had the lead. What is wrong with kicking a 38-yard field goal in the mid-third quarter of a 7-point NFL game?
I get it when you're inside the 5-yard line that you want to try to get 6 points. I understand it because then the risk reward is minimized. Because what happens if you don't get it? You've pinned them down deep in their end where their playbook is not nearly what it would be at the 30-yard line. That's the other part of this that makes no sense. David, when you get down late, or you get, it's one thing when they do it, late in the quarter is not that smart. You do it early in the game or whenever, when a team's got to take over at the end of the half, that's another time. At the end of the half, take the damn points. Because what are you not doing at the end of the half? You're not sticking them back in their own end if you don't get it. I mean, we are the anti-analytic show. There's no doubt.
Listen, I've had people after we do a show, and I don't know if they do this with you, but listeners or, I've had Gary at times just say, I got to admit, I disagree with you guys on this. He didn't have a problem with the Oregon coach the second time he went for it. He thought at the end of the first half that was foolish to not take the 3 points at the end of the half. He actually thought, risk versus reward, 4th and 3, you make it, you win the game. Okay. He, thought also being kind of like when Belichick went for 4th and a yard and a half. He's like, listen, if I give this ball to Peyton, we're going to lose. It doesn't matter where I give it to him. If he gets the ball back, we're going to lose. So I might as well try to win the game. And so that's where Gary was on that. Okay, I can respect that. I disagreed, but okay. And the biggest reason I disagreed was they were up 4. I'm like, well, he's got to score a touchdown. I'd at least make him go 80, 90 yards. But okay, fine. We can respectfully disagree on that. And like the Duke situation, what you're bringing up is at least the Duke coach is saying, well, I'm going for risk versus reward. And if I don't get it, well, I've got them pinned back. Okay. Okay. You played the risk reward game. Got it. I would have kicked the field goal. You went for it. Okay. The Mike McDaniel one, though, the Josh Heupel one is nothing I don't give a damn what the analytics say. I've been there for 2 hours. You've twice not converted 3rd and 4th and shorts, and now you're going to try it again? And if you don't get it, they got the ball on the short side of midfield. And by the way, if you believe in momentum and all that, well, Alabama had all of it. So punt the damn ball. Now, I've been with Gary too long. I don't believe in momentum anymore. But coaches sure do. Oh, my goodness. And they all coach for it. They all coach to get it. They all coach to stop it. They all coach to prevent it. Listen, I think Urban Meyer is one of the 5 best college football coaches of all time. He coached to momentum constantly. Constantly. Sometimes it worked big. Sometimes it failed big. But whenever Urban didn't have the momentum, Urban went for it or ran a trick play. He did it in an SEC championship game. Nearly cost his Gators tremendously. So between analytics and momentum, Mark, I swear, stab me in the neck. Unbelievable.
A fired up David Moulton in the bonus hour today because we brought up his favorite subject in college football, analytics.
Kick the damn ball.
I have an analytics. Started this whole thing off with Alabama and Tennessee, and the two of us both had Tennessee plus 9.5.
There's a guy in my ear, the analytics guy from Monday Night Football. And so I ask him all the time, is this a go, yes or no? And he tells me it's a go. And literally, I have to relay that to Troy and then get on the button and go, are you serious? They're supposed to go for this? 4th and 3 is a go? Okay. And he goes, yeah. I go, your analytics suck.
It's all while Monday Night Football is going on. Stay tuned. Minnesota and San Francisco tonight. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Felipe?
Yeah.
My mom just texted me, told me there's 2 women that she likes, maybe a third, and the third is she's on the fence with.
Well, one of them better be Lisa Salters.
No.
What?
No. No. So, once again, somebody maybe could grow on my mom, but, my mom's only been paying attention to Lisa Salters now for a year and a half.
True.
It's not like my mom's been watching the NBA playoffs or Monday Night Football before.
I also hope that one of them is Doris Burke.
No, she doesn't watch basketball.
That's true. Is her favorite sport also football?
Well, let's see. She absolutely hates baseball, hates golf, doesn't watch basketball. I mean, my mom really doesn't watch sports unless I'm at them.
True.
So,
But growing up, was she more into the Rangers, the Giants, or really neither?
my mom's a Steelers fan.
Oh.
Oh yeah, my mom was a Joe Namath fan. Okay, but she became a Steelers fan early in the Bradshaw era.
Not because she's a Yinzer.
No,
Because of Terry
She's
Bradshaw.
born and raised Jersey. No, she loved
Gotcha.
Joe Namath, and so she has a fondness for the Jets. But her team is the Steelers, and she did that all on her own.
Interesting.
Felipe, you'll love this. We had Bradshaw on, 10, 12 years ago. It was in our first act. It was a while ago.
I think it might have been you and John.
No, it was us. It was us. And here's how. Okay. We had him on in the final hour of the show. He was doing something promotionally, and we could only get him in the 6 o'clock hour. Okay. And I told him, I could have sworn you were there. And I told him, I said that my mother, would drop her life as she knows it and run off with you right now if you're willing. And I said this to Bradshaw on the air, and Bradshaw said, well, he starts rattling off. Well, tell her this is where we can meet. Let's go. Bradshaw was just awesome about it. So the only time I met Terry in person, I thanked him, hey, you were gracious enough to come on. And I said, my mom just, thinks you're gorgeous. And I said to you on the air, she would run away with you right now. And you said, well, let's set it up. And he laughed. He said, I don't know what wife I was on then. I'm sure she wouldn't have liked it, but okay.
That's amazing. If Tom Brady, continue.
No, I was just going to say, or Kenny. I mean, count the Hall of Famers on it. And it's ridiculous. But yeah, what about Brady?
If Tom Brady played quarterback for the 2023 Falcons, are they a playoff team?
A playoff team?
Or a Super Bowl contender?
I'll tell you what. How many catches would Pitts have right now?
That's the thing.
He made a catch yesterday. Did you see that behind the back catch that he made? Jeez Louise.
Thank you. Maybe we should throw him the ball more.
Yeah. Hey, why not?
I'm so mad at the Falcons. Nothing. Not a damn thing all day. And I'm going to lose my fantasy game by 4 flipping points. And I started Bijan Robinson. I am pissed. That's crap. They're not supposed to do that.
Well, they said he woke up sick.
Right. Illness is the excuse.
What a crock.
But since they activated him, like the clue would have been 90 minutes beforehand if he was deactivated. But instead,
crock.
What do you have? Just a 1 carry? Unbelievable.
1 carry for 3 yards. That's it.
Could have started Rashad White. Oof. Had players.
Well, Kenny, in fairness to them, apparently he wasn't sick Friday or Saturday.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Boy, we're just bringing up sore subjects here in the Diamond District bonus hour. We brought up the Alabama-Tennessee game, which led to a bad beat and idiot coaching decisions conversation. And then late in the commercial break, we'll let you in a little behind the scenes if you're not watching us on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. The Falcons were brought up, which led to Bijan Robinson, which led to Mark Miller
melting down because he's on my fantasy team and is going to probably cost me a close victory. I have a Brock Purdy problem tonight. I'm going to need the Vikings to play some defense.
No, that's a problem. That is a problem. Yeah. Mhm. So, yeah, I think it would have been nice for a lot of fantasy owners to know that apparently he woke up and wasn't feeling well, right? But you could see where Atlanta wouldn't want to give that
No,
information out.
I understand. Just in the fantasy world and the betting world, these are
Right.
things that you'd want to know.
But that's one of those deals that apparently it's not like he didn't have the flu Friday, he didn't have the flu Saturday. You know, there. I mean, because if he didn't practice on Saturday, all right, the NFL sends that out. Every team has to send out a practice report. Who's limited? Who was a full participation? If Robinson didn't practice, okay, the Falcons would have had to explain it on an injury report. Why is it that the NFL does this? Do you really think they want to help the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out? Or do you think maybe, I don't know, they've wanted to help the bettors and now the fantasy players out? You decide.
Which is why the information on Saturdays when you get it is so valuable to get, because
Right.
it never comes out.
No. You know, it was funny. I was having the discussion last night. The director of Monday Night Football, before he got this gig this year, he had been the director of the college football, the biggest games that ESPN has done over the years. All right. So he's been working with Fowler and Herb Street before that. I mean, he talked about doing a national championship game with Brad and Gary. All right. And I said to him, I go, he asked me, what do you find easier, NFL or college? And I laughed. I go, the NFL is so much easier. And we got into the whole, it's amazing how much more information you get covering the NFL than you get covering college. And not only do you get it, it's mandated that you get it. Whereas we all know with a court order, you can't get it in college.
Hell, you can't even get the 3 deeps from some teams because they think they're giving out state secrets, for crying out loud.
Right. Starts telling me all the stories of coaches who wouldn't let him and announcers into practice before national championship games. One coach, when they showed up for practice, every player was in a different uniform. When we tell you this is not Miller and Moulton just being small-time yahoos, I'm telling you, it's the difference in the world between Saturdays and Sundays. It's not just a talent difference.
Don't have to worry about 3 number 3s on one team.
I know.
I will say I'm about used to it now. I've got the player numbers. I wish the NFL would have stuck with their old system.
Oh, tell me about it.
I'm guessing for you it's even harder because you're working the games. But just watching the games, having to remember who switched from this number to that number, and I think I'm about there.
Yeah, number 5 being a defensive end is a problem. Right, exactly. You knew what a number 5 was. Okay, he could be a kicker. He could be a quarterback. All right. Don't even know if he could be a receiver or running back. I mean, it was really limited as to what your number was, told you what position you were.
I really like the number 0, though. The zeros look great. Like Swift in that Eagles jersey last night. I won't even lie. He looked great.
Okay, now we can have this discussion. Did we like the Eagles jerseys last night?
I loved them.
They're great. They go hard. And the whole stadium was Kelly Green.
Well, that's the part, even with the creamsicles and they lost, that the Bucs fans that were there were in the creamsicle colors. The Eagles fans that were there last night were all wearing the Kelly Green. Give it up to the NFL fan to continue to spend their hard-earned dollars on you guys coming up with 3rd jerseys so your fans have to wear an alternative jersey to a game. But
$160.
it looked great.
I stopped the guy in the Atlanta airport yesterday morning. He had on the Kelly Green Eagles jersey, and I said, going to the game, and he turned around. He had a Jalen Hurts jersey on. He said, "You're damn right." And he kept walking. Good for you, sir. Now, obviously, as somebody who grew up watching the NFC East, that's my childhood. That's how they looked. First ever NFL game I went to was the second to last Giants game ever played at the original Yankee Stadium. That's what the Norm Snead and the Eagles were wearing against the Giants in 73 at Yankee Stadium, sitting right next to a pillar.
Nothing screamed old Yankee Stadium like an obstructed seat.
Exactly. Yeah, I could reach out and grab the pillar. We had the two seats, my grandfather and I, next to the pillar. Okay. And he's telling me it's not going to be like this when we get to come back here. They played one more game there, and then that was it. Then after that, Giant Stadium was ready for them. They played at Shea and Yale Bowl for 2 years and what have you. But that's the Eagles. That's what I grew. That was Harold Carmichael, Bill Berge, Jaws. That's Wilbert Montgomery, the original Jerome Brown, Reggie, Clyde. That's what they were wearing. Buddy Ryan in matching colors with his belly, parading the sidelines. That's what they were.
And they looked terrific last night, not just with the unis, but how they played, taking it to the Dolphins. And as we've talked about, we've kind of made a boxing analogy throughout today's show. There are 3 heavyweights, maybe 4. We put Baltimore in as a 4th heavyweight. The 49ers and the Eagles, the Chiefs and the Ravens. Those are the 4 heavyweights. Everybody else is a light heavyweight with aspirations of getting to the heavyweight division.
And we don't know if Buffalo the rest of this year can get back in the division. Without Milano, without White at corner, we don't know if the Bills can get back to being a heavyweight.
Chris Landry, when we had him on earlier, thought Detroit was closer to a heavyweight than a light heavyweight. In watching the game yesterday, thought they were still good enough at the line of scrimmage that they can contend with the best in the NFC.
And I do think we have to be smart enough sometimes as fans to acknowledge that, so-and-so had a bad day. It happens. It's like a really good starting pitcher. And some days you show up and you go, wow, Verlander didn't have it today. No, he didn't.
Well, it was funny, and I watched that Baltimore-Detroit game the first half pretty closely, but Baltimore does something that teams don't do anymore. They won the toss and took the ball. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. And then they march down with a great drive and score and immediately put all of the pressure on the Detroit Lions. 3 and out, boom, score again. It's like, oh boy, this is deteriorating quickly.
Well, Mark, that's what the Rams did when they were the greatest show on turf. They'd take the ball, score. You'd move the ball on that defense, but invariably you'd kick a field goal. Then they'd get the ball back and score. And next thing you know, it's like the beginning of the second quarter and it's 14-3. And that to me is a team that should seriously think about. That's the Dolphins, right? Shouldn't the Dolphins? Because to me, they're set up to put that kind of pressure on teams.
And it changes everything when you can get the lead and put that type of pressure on your opposition.
And then you can start pounding Mostert and Achane when he comes back and what have you, and do whatever you want. Yeah.
Will the Dolphins become a heavyweight? We think they can because of the players that are coming back for them.
Yes.
Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. It's how we finish things out on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That was a signature performance from Lamar Jackson yesterday. Easily one of his best games.
Do you know what's remarkable? Somebody put out a stat yesterday that's the number of 4 touchdown games that Lamar has. And it said there's only like 3 other quarterbacks that have had that many 4 touchdown games since before they turned 30. Lamar's 26.
On the ground, in the air.
It doesn't matter. You're always taking control. When you say Lamar, you're talking Super Bowl.
I feel like most of my life, the Ravens have just always been good.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not something you've thought of. They have been.
Yes. And again, I hate to make the NBA comparisons here, but it's almost like they're like the Miami Heat of the NFL, where it's like they're always in it. You never want to play them. You always fear
I actually
them.
think that's a fair comparison because their franchises are both really well run.
Yeah. I've always liked the Ravens, obviously, just because they had Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. On the same team for all those years. Like, that's ridiculous.
In case you were wondering, David, I happened to catch some of the show on Friday. It's Sheeman and Company is now the new name of the show. Or Craig and Company, one or the other.
Oh.
That's the new name.
So the other guy's not even worthy of a name?
I have my theories as to why the name's not on there, but.
Well, I think they're trying to find someone else.
RCB, I don't know if the Falcons were so much better than the Bucs yesterday. So much better.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta fumbled inside the 1 twice. I mean, that game should have been 27-10. And Atlanta committed 3 turnovers. And Tampa needs to find a running game. Baker, Evans, and Godwin are not enough. They need something else. It's too much pressure on Baker. Come on, guys. This is not a good roster. It's not a good team. I mean, what are you realistically expecting with this? This team went 8-9 last year and roster-wise took a step back. I mean, how are you expecting more? There's a part of me that wishes they had lost a couple games early.
And
they're not that
EB,
good.
this is not 8th grade Pop Warner football. The coach running around on the sidelines yelling and screaming is going to turn guys off more than it turns them on Sunday. Do you see Belichick getting fiery on the sideline?
Andy Reid?
I mean, come on.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until our time is up on this Monday edition of Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Listen, before you get to all that you have to contractually get to, I don't know if you have to contractually get to it. It's just what we've done forever. I'm in Minneapolis for a reason, besides the fact that I like it, and there's a White Castle across the bridge in St. Paul.
Do you have a car that
Yes.
can take you to the White Castle? Will you go to the? I know you got a production meeting right after the show or thereabouts.
Yes.
Following the production meeting where you're in Minneapolis, where my guess is I could look up on my phone and find 47 phenomenal restaurants.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You're not going to do any of that. You're going to go to White Castle?
I'm thinking about it. Probably not for this reason. In 2 weeks, I'm headed to Jersey. In 2 weeks, I'm headed to Jersey, so I can get my fix there. But if I wasn't, yeah. And you're right. Great restaurants in Minneapolis. And we're downtown. We're across the street from the Target Center. So, yeah. Okay, just a couple quick things. You know who's won the most games on Monday Night Football? What franchise in the history of Monday Night Football?
What franchise has won the most games?
Yeah, most wins on Monday Night Football. Which team?
Because you're one of the two teams is playing. Let's just go with San Francisco.
You know what? I tricked you. I asked it. They were tied with Pittsburgh at the beginning of the season, but since the Steelers beat the Browns earlier this year, Pittsburgh number 1, San Francisco 52 wins on Monday Night Football. It's not bad. That's a damn near a win a year. And considering they went most of the first 10 years of Monday Night Football without even appearing on it. So, do you know ESPN's got that FPI thing where they right
Football Power Index? Is that what they call that?
Right. They give the Niners far and away like twice the better chance of getting to the Super Bowl than the Eagles. Thought people would find that interesting. Also, remember that regular season stat last year? The Vikings went 13-4, and we said, well, you know, they won a lot of close games. A lot? They went 11-0 in one-score games last year. 11-0. Mark, what's their record this year? The Vikings?
They 2-4?
They're 2-4. Do you know how many one-score games they've played, Mark?
I'm just going to guess 4.
How about all 6?
Okay.
So last year, 11-0 in one-score games. This year already, they're 2-4. It's called regression to the mean, is what they call it. That's an analytical thing. You know how big on analytics I am. So anyway, Debo's out. Trent Williams, according to the injury reports, it's gotten worse, not better. Doubtful is what I believe he's being listed as. And McCaffrey, however, looks like a go. He was practicing fine by the end of last week. So for those that are wondering, and I don't know if anybody still has a fantasy play that they have to do or not. So there you go. And Daniel Hunter is auditioning for the rest of the NFL tonight. because the talk is the Vikings are going to trade him. He's 28 years old. He's a pass rusher. He's got 8 sacks already on the season, and he's signed for another year and a half. So if you get him, you're not just renting him like the Rams did Von Miller, if you know what I mean. You got him. Just saying. Might interest a few teams.
And I think anybody's on the table for that because the Vikings showed their willingness to trade in the division last year when they got Hockenson from Detroit. So they're willing to deal with one another. I think that leaves him wide open to any team that's a contender.
And Kirk Cousins in the final year of a contract. Don't know what's happening there in the future with him. They say they're not going to trade him this year. If he was on Atlanta, think about how good the Falcons would be. And Jefferson's out 4 to 6. So he ain't playing tonight. And Mark, I don't see how Minnesota can A, score enough, and then B, prevent San Francisco. I mean, unless the Browns started a trend last week with Brock Purdy, unless the Browns began to burst that bubble. But I thought that was more Cleveland's front four taking it to San Francisco's offensive line. So we'll see. Niners by 7. That's the spread tonight. Niners coming off a loss, remember. So what are the odds they lose 2 in a row?
What are the odds they win and win big?
If you're going to bet the Niners, I think you got to bet them to cover.
I'm right there with you. All right, let's get after this.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
So just to preface this, when I finish this, I always say, what do I miss, David? And he's going to have a lot today because yesterday, right after the 4 o'clock games, I went up to my office and did Today Was the Day When. The problem was I did it for the 22nd, and today happens to be the 23rd.
Well, why don't you tell us what happened yesterday?
So I did this on the fly during the show today. We start in 1921. The Packers play their first ever game. They win 7-6. The movie Dumbo was released today in 1941. Jackie Robinson signs with the Montreal Royals, the Brooklyn Dodgers Farm Club, today in 1945. Today in 64, Fraser wins gold, which means the Summer Olympics were held in October.
Let's see, where were they in 64?
Italy.
Wow. By the way, 60, 64, 68, your boxing heavyweight gold medalists were Cassius Clay, Joe Frazier, and George Foreman.
Today in 93, Toronto beats Philadelphia in 6 for the World Series, going back-to-back.
That's Joe Carter. Touch them all, Joe.
Rough night for the Dolphins today in 2000. They were up 30-7 after 3. The Jets would win 40-37 in overtime. It was a Monday night game, too. Adele's Hello was released today in 2015. It was the first song with 1 million downloads in a week. The biopic Bohemian Rhapsody released today in 2018. And it was a year ago that Houston swept the Yankees and Philly beats Houston in the championship series. Jim Bunning, Pele, Johnny Carson, and John Heisman all born today. Chichi Rodriguez is 88. Author Michael Crichton is 71. Weird Al Yankovic is 64. Doug Flutie, 61. And Ryan Reynolds is 47. What'd I miss, David?
Nothing. I got a very quiet day today.
Look at that. The bubble was done, so Felipe's got nothing.
But the season returns
tomorrow
night.
Tomorrow night.
It's like Christmas Eve for you, isn't it, Felipe?
God. I love the NBA, opening doubleheader.
Okay, so to let everybody know who doesn't know already, this is your final week. So you have to work your other jobs on Tuesday and Wednesday, correct?
That's right.
So Felipe is going to he's going to work his other job till when? What time?
7:30.
Okay. We'll race home. We'll watch doubleheader NBA. We'll watch both games. So he'll go to bed at 1 a.m. He'll come into our show Wednesday, a total zombie, a wreck.
Ready to talk basketball to myself because I know you guys don't want to.
He'll be fired up about it. Right. The first half of the show, Mark, full of you-know-what and
Player
vinegar.
of the days this week are all going to be from the NBA. Don't kid yourself.
He'll be asleep during the bonus hour on Wednesday. All right. And if we leave him alone and don't wake him, he might be late to his Wednesday shift at his second job. It's going to be a mess.
Already bought League Pass. I'm ready for that random Kings game on a Wednesday night.
Oh, boy.
They're hosting the Spurs. You know?
and my son-in-law. You and your Sacramento Kings basketball. My goodness.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to New York, where Juliet Barton was on the Long Island Railroad train, transferred, got to where she was going, and realized she had left her backpack on the train. The backpack had $12,000 in cash in it.
Damn.
Right. She
How
spoke
could
with
you-
employees. They directed her to visit Penn Station to fill out paperwork for her lost property. She returned to the station the next morning. The conductor of the train turned in the backpack with every single one of the $12,000 still inside of it.
That's a good man right there.
You're damn right it is. For the bad, we go to Poland, where I have to admit this is clever. A 22-year-old man got his way into a display at a mall store, kind of one of your anchor stores. And he stood there with the bag motionless for the rest of the day, posing to be a mannequin. When the mall store closed, he broke out of his stance and robbed a jewelry stand. He then ate his fill at a food station before stealing a new outfit. That's when his luck ran out and he was noticed by mall security and arrested. He could face up to 10 years in prison.
That's semi-impressive.
It really is.
Yeah.
Take the jewelry and go. Don't get
Yeah,
the
exactly.
No, but the acting part of it, that's...
Yes.
I mean, how many hours do you have to stand still like that?
Finally, the ugly, we go to Atlanta, where Sarah Hodgson was alerted by her neighbor if she had hired a company to tear down the vacant house that she owns. She said no. Guy on the phone said, well, there's someone over here who just demolished the whole house and tore it down. She had a family member go over to pay a visit to the property to see what was happening. When the family member asked to see the worker's permit, they checked the permit and it was the wrong address.
Yeah, I read that story. She went away for a few days, came back, they blew up her house.
That, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, October the 23rd, 2023.
See, that's why they write when you're having a procedure done on your arms and legs, what leg, they now label the arm or leg that they're having it on, because obviously somewhere along the way somebody screwed that up, right? Might have to start doing that with houses as well. What house is it? Spray paint the one, put an X on it. Right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that would suck. Went away for a few days, come home. What happened to my house?
It's gone.
What do you mean it's gone? Oh, they tore it down. Didn't you place a work order? No. So obviously got Monday Night Football, Niners, Vikings, 8:15. I believe we got a Manning cast tonight too. I think we got both.
Jumped the shark.
Ooh, that last one did it for you, huh?
You get Will Ferrell on and you make him not funny.
Well,
it's hard to do.
I know, but we've screwed up interviews before too. Give me another chance.
I don't know. We had a
Okay.
comedian and we've made them funny.
We're usually good with comedians, usually, but we've. Okay, you got 2 baseball playoff games.
Darn right.
If Niners Vikings isn't doing it for you, Phillies have the chance to go to the World Series, 5:00 TBS. All right. And I'm glad that game's at 5:00 because Joe Buck's stats guy is all Philadelphia. Ed Sfida. He'd be useless if it was the 8:00 game. But the 8:00 game's Game 7, Texas and Houston. The road teams are 6-0. The game's in Houston. Do you just bet the Rangers? Remember, Houston lost the World Series 4 years ago, same way. They lost all 4 games at home to the Nats. Could they do it again? Only this time to Texas. Scherzer, by the way,
right.
The Rangers tonight. This is why they pitched him in Game 3, to get the clunker out of his system. I'm serious. Bochy's like, I got to get you innings, get you work. I want you if I need you in a Game 7 over the other guy. Well, now he's got him in a Game 7. Can Scherzer give him? He's looking for 5 innings, maybe even only 4, through the lineup twice.
The weird part about this is Houston can't hit the ball at home.
All year.
All year.
Well, you know why?
No garbage cans in center field.
No whistles, no cheating, right?
The baseball world still rooting for the Rangers.
Yep. One NHL game, 7:00 tonight, NHL Network, Canadians and Sabres. So there you go. Football, baseball, and if you're a hockey degenerate. NBA starts tomorrow night. Thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah,